Hey guys, welcome to Timeless Mysteries Live. I'm still getting ready. I'm sorry. I couldn't find the video I wanted to play. I found it. I'm sorry I'm late. It is going to be just a little bit longer, um, but I got a cool new backdrop that I'm trying to get set up, and it's taking a little extra time. Let me see if I can at least get this thing started. Well, I did just find the video, but now I don't have access to it. Oh, here it is. Okay.
I just turned
So
okay. So again,
I know we watched most of this already. Um, I think we've got an hour or so left to do. So I'm going to let this play out a little bit before it ended last time while I finish getting ready. So you guys could at least have something to talk about while you wait. I am sorry that it's taken me a little longer than I thought to get ready, but I just couldn't find this file. I knew I had it.
To me that his family wasn't home. It was really vague. I'm like, okay, like, are they at the grocery store? Like, elaborate. And so, and then, but he says, call me like it's like an emergency, but then just says that they're not there. And so I'm like really like floored by that. Well, not like floored, but just kind of like, he says, call me, so I'm concerned. And then he's really vague, so I'm like, maybe he just wants to talk to me. I don't know. I think it took me a little while to like really process the severity of the situation, just because this is not something that you expect to see every day, and the way that he talked to me made me believe that this is not what was going on at all.
Okay, so you make a phone call to him and you guys have a conversation.
I did. I stepped outside.
This is 3:45.
Ish. I mean, well, like, I think I actually interacted with Jim for, like, probably a good 15 or 20 minutes. I mean, he's my guest. He's in my house. So I don't think I called him right away. But, like, I mean, I'm trying to balance the fact that I have my friend here, and then Chris is saying that something needs to be addressed. But to me, it didn't sound like an emergency. I mean, it's all the time. Like, people aren't home right now. So it just... It wasn't like, oh my God, I have to take this call.
It didn't register as being critical.
No. I mean, it was the way he said it. And I was like, okay. So I remember hanging out with Jim for a while, and then I stepped outside and I made a call, like, out on my back patio. And I called him. And he didn't answer the phone. And then he texted me back. Oh, no. Did he answer the phone? I don't remember. I think he missed my call, and then he called me back. Or he just answered. Either way, it was a very short talk to him where he was just like, I have to go. The cops are here. And I don't remember if he said that on the phone or over text.
That's
I don't
okay.
I'm so tired.
That's fine. You don't
But
need
either
the
way,
different,
like,
it's
the
just
cops,
the context.
Yeah, I mean, you guys will figure it out. The cops are here. And I'm just like, all right. And then I remember we were we were texting, but I was like hanging out with my company, so it wasn't like a nonstop text. It was just kind of like I would check my phone every once in a while, and we would communicate with each other. And he was just saying like they weren't there, and that her friend Nikki was there, and that her friend Nikki had called the cops. And I'm like, why would this girl call the cops? And like, I honestly do not remember the order of operations on all of this, but I'm pretty sure the majority of our conversation that night until my friend Jim left the house, which was probably pretty late, I don't even know what time, like 9 or 10, was all via text. So you should have this via text. Like,
Okay.
I don't think we started talking again on the phone until, like, after my company left. And he was like, I don't know, he just started like, giving me details about stuff, and I don't remember what order, but he was saying like Nikki was really upset and that the cops were there and that they were like searching the house, and I was just like, what? You know, like what? Why? And he was telling me that they had like had a disagreement or something like that, and then he told me like she was gonna go to a friend's house, and I was like, okay, well, maybe she left, you know, maybe she just like went to her friends. And then I think I don't remember, but I think he was the one that told me that her cell phone and her purse were still there. I think he told me that.
He told you her cell phone and purse were still there?
I think he did. I don't remember.
What's the significance of that in your mind at that time?
At that point, I thought this woman was really trying to get out of this house.
Okay.
That's what I thought, because he said that they'd had a disagreement, and I was just like, okay, well, I mean, I leave my cell phone at
When
home.
he said disagreement, what did he tell you what it was about, or?
Not at that point. Not at that point. So, again, like, you guys are going to have to check these texts, because it's
Hey guys, welcome to Timeless Mysteries. Sorry I got to a late start here, but I did get this cool like red-ish background thing. It's pretty nifty. I didn't like the black one I had. But how's everyone doing today? Hey Cuff-You, hey Molly, hey Olga. I am planning to watch the last hour of this video. You know, I think it's actually the most important part of it. I know the last time we started this, I think we got about through 2 hours of it. It's a 3.5 hour interview, you know, with Nichol Kessinger. So I just wanted to, you know, finish watching it. But I am still working on getting, like, I don't think the YouTube stream is actually set up properly, so I got to still do that. So we're at the end of the first interview. You know, she's gone through all of the stuff. I think she's already said that she doesn't remember what she talks about in the 111-minute phone call. She's got her dad with her. He's like telling the detective, no, you can't ask her that. You know, it is a little weird. The last hour of this video, though, that's when she gets a little bit kind of, I don't want to say weird exactly, but she gets kind of aggressive and irritable, and she says some things that I think is very interesting. And I know a lot of channels who play this and they point out things, but I don't know that they're pointing out the exact thing, that the most important stuff. And I think that's why I want to watch it with you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and let this continue playing. I'm expecting this live to take about an hour and a half or 2 hours. Hey, Laura, how's it going? You know, guys, I haven't done a live stream in a couple weeks, and you know, I think I've been working on a lot of projects. I know some of you know that I like to write, and I've written a book, and I actually finished it, and it's on Amazon. I'm working on making a cover for it so I can make a printable version of it. And I'm also working on a couple other projects right now. Some of them are true crime, but my goal right now is I'm actually trying to write a fantasy book for my kid. Have any of you ever tried to do that? It's like you get this idea and it sounds so great, and then you start writing it out, and then, as you know, after you get past the beginning, you know, it's like, what happens next? You know, it's been I have to have it done before Christmas so I can send him a copy. You know, his brother got a video made for his birthday to put on YouTube, and you know, that took a lot of work too. So I'm trying to just do something a little different for my kids. I'm trying to build them something that they can, see that I put work into rather than just get them a new toy or something. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and let this play out. I think we're before I want to start, which is kind of good because then we can kind of hear the last part of, this part is all good information here. Here we go. Where's the play button? Here it is.
All like,
all right,
that's okay.
Mashed potato right now. But I remember him saying that, and I'm just thinking, like, well, maybe she was in a rush, like, maybe she was just like, I'm going to my friends, I'm leaving my cell phone here because I don't want you calling me, I don't want anyone else calling me. I mean, there are days where, like, when I'm outside of work, I will just shut my phone off. I just do it, and it's, like, my way of getting peace. So to me, it was weird that it wasn't even that weird to me that she left her phone just because I leave my phone, but it was weird to me that she left her purse. But knowing the fact that that girl was, like, always on her phone, then, yeah, I guess it is kind of odd.
Like, she lived on her phone, I think,
yeah.
pretty much, is my understanding of her and a phone. So, I don't know if you knew that.
I did.
Until prior to the media stuff, or just from Chris.
I did.
So, did that strike you as odd? But you're thinking maybe she just left.
I just thought she needed to, like, get away from the situation. I mean, that didn't seem that awkward to me that a couple that is going through separation would be like, I need to leave. I just need some space. Like, it didn't even, like, process. I was like, okay, like, give her some space, and, on that note, too, when he was we're going to jump back for just a second.
It's okay.
I had a thought. So when he was coming back from North Carolina, that was when he officially told me we're going to get a divorce and we're going to put the house up for sale. Like, he told me they were separating and they were, like, going to put the house up for sale, but they hadn't done it yet. And then when he got back from North Carolina, that was when he was like, it was like a sealed deal.
Okay.
And the reason that is of significance is because at some point over the weekend, I don't remember when, he told me that they were putting the house up. I don't know if it was they were putting it up on Monday, like the day they went missing, or if it was that they were calling the realtor to verify some stuff so they could put it up that week. Like, I don't quite remember. I just remember, like, the house, which was supposed to be, like, on the market, like, that week.
Did he name a realtor ever?
Yeah, he did, and I don't remember her name. It was a female.
Okay.
And I don't remember her name, like,
That's
at all.
fine.
I was trying to think of that for you guys not too long
Is
ago.
that the company? You got the company name?
No, he never gave me that. He, like, gave me her name, and it was the same name twice. He gave it to me once when he was in North Carolina, and then once the other time. Because I remember asking, I was like, who's that? Because he's like, I'm going to have her call so-and-so today and make sure everything's still good to go. And I was like, who's that? He's like, the realtor. It's like, oh. Or not today, but, like,
If it ever comes to your
Monday.
mind, just
Yeah, I
give me a
doubt
voice
it. That
note,
was
you
such
call.
a.
Yeah.
I will try. I don't
lots of
remember
names.
who it was.
It's fine. It's not that critical. That person may come forward to us anyways, perhaps. So don't worry about it. Let's go back to the phone calls on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, so he's, like, texting me a lot of this information, and I'm starting to kind of freak out. And it's not like I'm freaked out like, oh, she got murdered. I mean, that is not what I thought. It's like, okay, like, the way I looked at this, like, apparently his wife had been gone since midday, is when she got, like, reported missing.
Did you guys hear that? She did not think she got murdered.
Didn't know that. Like, the way I looked at this, it was, I got home from work just now. I mean, he didn't say that, but I interpreted, I just got home from work. And my family is not here. So when we're texting for, like, a few hours, like, the cop thing was kind of weird. But he's like, Nikki insisted they call the cops. Nikki insisted they call the cops. And I'm like, okay, and I'm just trying to figure out, well, like, what role does this woman play in this situation? Like, is she...
Did you know who she was?
No, I don't know any of his people. Like, this has been pretty, like, tight wrap for a while, which is probably a really good thing. But anyways, I didn't know, like, who she was. And so, like, I started asking him. I was like, well, where do you think your wife is at? And he's like, I think she'll be back tonight. Like, I think she's, like, out with somebody. And he was telling me that they had a disagreement. So I was like, well, I remember telling him, I was like, you should make sure that you have wait a minute. No. So all that happened, and then it starts getting kind of laid out.
Sounds like she's changing her story to me.
And I remember we talked for text for a while, and part of this conversation, and then it moved to the phone. And I remember telling him, because he was like, I think she'll just be back tomorrow. I think she's just going to be gone for the night, like, with a friend, you know? And
Did
like,
he name the friend?
no, he didn't. And, like, because I don't think, he made it sound like he didn't know, like, what friend's house she would be at. And I remember talking to him, and I was like, well, maybe it's that Nikki girl. And he's like, well, Nikki called the cops, so why would she be at Nikki's house? I'm like, I don't know, kind of throws her off the trail of where she's at, you know? And it's like, it sounds kind of weird, but it's like, he really made this sound like this woman was just like upset, left the house, and that was probably what he thought happened to her. And so I didn't really put too much, like...
Did he tell you the kids were missing as well?
Yes,
with her?
I knew.
Okay.
I mean, which made sense to me, because I was like, well, if you were at work all day... I mean, he didn't tell me he got home early. He didn't say that to me. So, I mean, it made sense. Like, if she's going to leave, they should probably go with her. And so, I don't know. I feel like I wish I should have, like, processed all of this earlier, but I just don't feel like when one of my friends is gone, I'm like, oh my God, they got murdered. We should address this. Like, I haven't heard from them in 4 hours.
It's not a typical thought when somebody just checks out for a day.
No. So it got late at night, and, like, I remember telling him, I was like, he's like, I think she'll be back tomorrow. And he was going to go into work, and I told him not to. I was like, you need to stay home, and you need to help the cops. I'm like, and you need to wait for her to come back. And he's like telling me, like, well, what if, like, she comes back and she sees my truck? And I was like, you know what I would do? I was like, I would ask one of your good friends who's off of work tomorrow to come over this house and hang out with you while you're here. I was like, and go park your truck down the street. I was like, so she's upset at you and she wants to come back. I was like, but she doesn't want to be here if you're here, maybe. I was like, if she comes back, I was like, and she doesn't see your truck, maybe she'd be more willing to come in the house. I'm like, you know, I'm like, but don't be alone with her. I was like, because if she's upset enough to leave, I was like, you don't know what kind of confrontation you're going to have when you get back in the house. And I was like, so that's why you should have a friend there so that you're not alone with her. And I was like, and if for some reason you are alone with her, I told him, I was like, I really thought she just left. I did. I was like, get your phone, put it on video, and put it in your pocket. And I was like, and just zip it up. And he's like, why? And I told him, I was like, because you can voice record. I was like, so if she comes home, I was like, and you two are still, like, you know, if there's some choice words being said, because you guys obviously got into, like, something that's, you know, early
Did he
in the
ever
morning.
articulate what their argument was
He did,
about?
and I will get there. But, you know, I told him, like, just be prepared. You know, because at this point, like, it wasn't like I was, like, trying to make her to be a bad person. It was just like, I didn't know what was going on. I assumed that she had left, so I was like, well, when you get back, because I knew that they were going through a divorce, it was like, just cover your bases, you know, try not to be alone. And if you are, just record what you guys are talking about, so, like, at the end of the day, like, nothing bad happens to you, you know? And, like, that was kind of how I processed that whole situation. And so, he was like, all right. And then, she didn't come home that night. That was Monday night, right? Yes.
We're talking about Monday.
Monday night, yes. And he told me this is what he told me they talked about, and I realized that this is like total bullshit, and I think he's telling you guys a different story. And I think the reason that he's telling me what he's telling, I think the story he's telling you is probably slightly more accurate than the one he told me on this case, and the reason is because I think he was trying to save his ass with the fact that she's pregnant. So he told me that she had asked him to wake her up before he left for work on Monday morning. And so I don't know if she did that on a text or how it was supposedly communicated. But he said that he went to get her up, which I also found weird because, like, she's still sleeping when he leaves because she gets up with the kids, and they get up shortly after that, but, like, it's just him in the mornings, you know. And so she,
One of the things that gets me with this is she says, all of these things throughout the interview. This is a long interview, and I'm sure that there is some parts of it she doesn't remember until she starts talking about it. But she kind of goes back and forth on certain things, like she knows something, but then she doesn't know something, or what she remembered changes. And this last part of the interview, this is where she gets really kind of, you know, angry. She starts cussing and saying things, but she keeps saying she didn't know that this was going to happen, and that she doesn't know what's going through his mind at the time. But then she knows all of these details. And just a second ago, she says, "Oh, I'll get to that in a minute." She knows what they were going to talk about because her and Chris talked extensively about um, Chris and Shanann's relationship. Uh, and, I can't, I guess there's like this line that I don't like to cross um, when I talk about this case because um, I've said it many times. The red flags don't necessarily mean that you're guilty. But there's like this thin line here that like I keep like going over sometimes, and I try to pull myself back from. It's just hard for me to say for sure, without any doubt, that she had something to do with it. And I think this last part of the video, you can kind of see it goes you could see it from two different angles. One, she's completely innocent and she didn't actually know anything about what was going on, or she's hiding things, even more things that um, you know. It's like I'm trying to, you know, let's say, I've got a conscience. I can't just like accuse somebody of something without a lot more information. Um, I can point out all of the red flags, all of the things that she says, and then she takes back and says something different. And, I can explain those things as, you know, I just think back to things that I've like had to explain to people before. And I'm like, oh, I just remembered that, this happened this way. Um, you know, uh, your memory is not perfect, and you will remember things as you're talking about them, and it might change based off of what you've already said. So, I mean, there is a lot to this story, and I just don't know, guys. I know a lot of you do. I've heard about this group on Discord that's like this secret private group where they get together and they just talk about all of this stuff, and they get into all of the details, uh, and they seem to think that she is 100% guilty. I have not been invited to this group, which I guess is okay because I don't know if I would be able to participate in a conversation where I have to agree that she's 100% guilty of something. As far as I'm concerned, I think that if anything had happened, like specifically, I think she would have, pushed him to leave his wife, and she might feel guilty for that. I just I don't see. I think it is Molly. I don't know, but I've heard from a couple different people about this like private Discord group with like, dozens of YouTube content creators where they get together and talk about what their next videos are going to be, what they're going to talk about. And, I wouldn't, I don't want to, say they're talking about fake news, but that's kind of what I've heard. They kind of like collaborate before they put out a video, and then they're like, hey, well, I'm going to post this so you could, react to it and stuff like that. um, this is like all secondhand knowledge too, but it's just interesting to me that there is such a thing at all. I haven't considered doing a Discord group. um, a Discord is just like it's like a chat room where you're just, talking with your voice. And it might be fun. And I might actually do a Discord, for you guys so that, after we do a live, maybe we can hang out and, actually chat, where we're not live streaming, stuff like that. It could be fun. But, Nichol Kessinger is really one of these kind of figures that you can't say for sure if she was guilty or not. All we know for sure is that the prosecutor didn't do anything about anything. And if you, I guess, depending on the lens that you watch this interview with, you're going to see one of two different things. I mean, was she innocent or guilty? I'm on the fence. I've always been on the fence, and sometimes I lean one way or the other a little more. But one thing I'm not going to do is just like make a fake video and try to present the information as 100% true. It's just not in my personality. I can't do it. But there's just so many other cases that similar things that happened, and the prosecutor's office pushed a lot harder, and I just don't understand why they didn't push in this case. And I think that's a normal reaction. As far as like Watts Island goes, and all of the conspiracy theories, I still kind of think it's more like a swamp. You're like trying to walk through it, but you get stuck in the mud. It's a little bit too shallow to swim in and too muddy to walk in, and you're kind of just like stuck in all of the stinky, smelly, swamplands. I'm not a prosecutor, so I don't know what they would have needed to see in order to be more suspicious. But I think deleting everything on her phone is a pretty big deal. Even if she, and her excuse was kind of lame, well, I was just so upset with him. I didn't want to think about him anymore, so I just deleted everything on my phone. I don't buy that because I just don't buy it. I can't imagine deleting everything on my phone just for one person, especially if there's nothing that's going to implicate me in a crime on my phone. Molly, that is so true. I would share that interview with the babysitter, except for I just think it was wrong. I've watched it. I felt uncomfortable watching that man talk to that child that way, and it's just not right. So I don't know exactly why the prosecutor's office chose not to prosecute her for any type of crime, but why would they push the babysitter harder than an adult? And why is this adult sitting here with her father? It's like she needs, backup. For what reason? Cuffew, I still think that it was okay. The police probably needed to investigate her just to get some things answered. I just, even if her parents allowed it, I still feel like they kind of treated her a little bit aggressively. She is a kid. She isn't going to know anything. I don't know. I guess I could. Maybe I'll just like post a link and you guys can watch it on your own somewhere. I've seen the video a couple times. But, as far as Nichol Kessinger goes, I'm just a person who sees the red flags. You know, everyone else sees guilt. I kind of try to see it in a neutral light. And I don't think that's like, I don't think it's wrong to like pick the middle ground in these kinds of situations. I just don't think I just can't, be 100%, you know, on this one, not without more information. All the information we have is fairly old, and we just, I mean, the things that we do know is that, you know, the prosecutor didn't do anything. Nichol Kessinger hasn't said anything since, and I agree with everyone. I want to know why, just like you. But let's see. Yeah, it looks like you guys are talking about that 13-year. Was she was 14 or was she? For some reason, I was thinking she was 13, but I don't think she was that young. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and start letting this play through. 15. Yeah. I bet she saw something and she just doesn't remember it because, you know, as a child, you just don't think of things the same way. But she probably saw and heard stuff that was odd. But I don't know that she would have been able to figure it out and like present it to the police properly to actually do anything good for this case. And that's why I haven't shared the video, but I'll find the link to the video somewhere and I'll post it in this video live stream description so you guys can watch it.
He said that she woke up and those two kind of just like got in a disagreement, and I don't know what all was said, but he was like, she was being pretty mean, and then he said, she told me that she's pregnant, and she told me that the kid is not mine. That is what he told me.
So she's pregnant, the kid's not mine.
And that she's...
Like he's playing it, he didn't know she was pregnant?
Yep.
Until that morning.
Yep.
And that she had an affair with somebody else.
Yes, and this is before I knew she was 15 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
Like all the stuff on Monday that I read from my recollection, because I didn't find out she was pregnant until Tuesday. So anything that got posted on Monday did not emphasize the fact that she like had a baby on board. So then...
Let me ask you something. You said that he usually gets up in the morning and just, it's him and she gets up and takes care of the kids. Is that the routine that you know for them? Or do you know him to get up and like prepare meals prior to him leaving the home?
Well, he gets up and he like goes to the gym and he works out in his basement and like makes breakfast, and I don't know.
Does he make breakfast for himself or does he make breakfast for his children?
I don't know. I don't know. They're still sleeping at that point. Like all I know is he at one point in sometime in this whole thing, he told me that they usually get up at like 6:30, and she gets him ready and takes him to school and like does all the morning stuff with them, as far as I know. And then in the afternoons when he gets home from work, he kind of does more of the afternoon stuff.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a tag team operation that they have going on, but I think she does more in the AM and he does more in the PM.
Right.
Is kind of how I process that, but I don't know.
Okay. So she's mean to him and then throws this out.
Yes.
That she's pregnant from another man.
And I said, do you believe her? And he was just like, he said something about like, oh yeah, like she kind of looked like she was showing when we were in North Carolina, but I wasn't sure. And I'm like, so you think she's pregnant? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, do you think she's like having an affair? And he's like, I think she said that out of spite. And he's like, and I was like, okay. And then, and again, like, I think he's just saying all this to me to try to cover his tracks with me. Like, I don't know what he told you guys, but I bet it's probably very different. And I think that what he said to me, it was like directed towards me. Like this whole bullshit little box lie that he had right there was like the lie directed.
Did he say when the argument started?
Nope. He just said it was in the morning. He said he woke her up in the morning.
Okay. Did he say when she came home? Did he ever let you know that?
I think I want to say he said around like 2, but I don't know.
Okay. And then he woke her for what purpose?
Because she asked him to.
Okay.
So I was under the impression that he was asleep. I'm assuming this is how it like went, and what he was trying to tell me is that he was asleep by the time she got home. And she sent him a text and said, wake me up before you leave. And then he woke her up, and they got in an argument, and then he went to work.
Okay.
That's how I processed
And the
it.
context of that argument, again, was just she's pregnant. And is there anything else that he shared with you?
He did not elaborate on it, and I didn't ask.
What were you thinking at that time?
This was like on Monday. Again, at that point, I was like, I still thought she left. I mean, this was all on Monday. Like, I legitimately thought this woman left the premises with her kids and just wanted nothing to do with him for like 24 hours.
So his story was believable that she was pregnant from another man and maybe she took off for that guy, or...
He said several times, like, I think she just said that out of spite.
Okay.
Like, he thought she was with one of her friends.
So he held true to that story.
Pretty much.
She's just leaving and she's with a friend.
That was kind of what he thought. And that's kind of what he had me believing. And at the time, I wasn't really alarmed because it'd been like a half a day.
Sure.
And so then Tuesday rolled around and...
Did you see him at all on Monday? You said you didn't,
No.
right? Earlier.
I did not see
Okay.
him. And I went to work Monday.
Did he ever
Tuesday.
try to convince you to come see him or say he wanted to come to your house?
No, not at all. We were supposed to go pick out apartments to go look at on Wednesday, so yesterday. But that obviously
Right.
didn't
So
happen.
on Monday he never tried to be convincing to get you to come up to see him?
No.
Nothing?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think so because I had my buddy Jim was over Monday and Tuesday, and he knew Jim was over Monday and Tuesday, and that's why we were going to hang out on Wednesday.
Okay.
So no, he didn't ask me. So Tuesday rolled around, and she still wasn't around. And this is when I started getting kind of sick. Like, my friend Jim was sick on Monday when he came up, and I don't know. I just started feeling like crap as it was. And then I was just kind of having a hard time focusing and, like, thinking about what was going on. And I'd asked him a few times, I'm like, where's your family, Chris? Like, where's your family? You know, and he would tell me, like, oh, I don't know, or I want them home. Like, I asked, like, several times. So I think I got different responses, but each time, like, he didn't know where they were. You know, and I'm like, she's still not home? And he's like, no. And I had also asked him to, like, he said he had a friend, Dave, that was a cop, which I also find convenient that there's another Dave working this case who's a cop. But I was like, well, if Dave's off, why don't you just have him, like, post up outside your house too and see if she shows up, you know? And he told me on Tuesday morning, he was like, I called Dave and asked him to sit outside my house and he's going to do it. And he's like, and then my friend Nick is coming over later on this afternoon. And I was like, okay.
Did you ever hear Nick's name before?
I've actually heard that name a few times, like,
Okay.
around him. Like, there's certain... I never heard Dave before. Dave was new, but I've heard the name Nick a lot, so I don't know if that's, like, real or what, but if I was to guess, like, friends that he, like, legitimately has, I would assume.
You know, Cuffy, one of the things that I, see when I watch this is the fact that she's not, like, expressing the right amount of, like, emotions during this at all. Her emotional reaction to the situation just seems odd. And to me, that's a big red flag, another big red flag. But, other people have said, well, that's just how people process things sometimes. If it's brand new and she doesn't know, she hasn't, like, internalized it properly yet, maybe she might give off, that detached kind of the way she just talks about it. She just seems detached. She has no effect at all. And the few times that she does, like, kind of blurt out some things and kind of show some emotion, it's the wrong emotion in my opinion.
That he was one of them. But yeah, because I know he's told me before, like, when we first started hanging out, that Nick lived kind of in the area, and he's like, he actually goes, he's a trail runner, and he's like, he runs at East Lake number 3.
So he lives in your area?
Kind of.
Okay.
And I remember him saying that to me once. He's like, you know that park that we, like, hung out at? I was like, yeah. He's like, my buddy runs over there. We should not go to that park anymore. And I was like, okay. That's cool. And, anyways.
Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning.
We're almost done.
I know. I'm trying to just keep it all together here for you guys. Tuesday morning. Oh, so he said Dave was going to stay outside of his house, and Nick was going to come over that afternoon. I was like, all right. And then I think most of the texting throughout that day was kind of like, have you heard anything? Like, what's going on? It was kind of like me checking up on him. And I don't remember everything, but it wasn't, I didn't even make it through the entire workday. Like, I was feeling really, really sick, like in general. And then I decided on my lunch break to get on the internet and look at what was going on with all the reports. And I saw a report that was like, this woman who's 15 weeks pregnant and her 2 daughters are missing. And I was like, whoa, what? And I was just,
I don't know about you guys, but that just seemed weird. It almost sounds like she made up the story about looking at this online. Her voice kind of like wavers as she's speaking about it, like she's trying to think of what to say. I don't know. What do you guys think? Is that like, I mean, did she like find out about this at work? Like she's just explained that she did.
like so floored, and I read a couple other articles just to make sure that, you know, all the newspapers are, and like just double check, like, am I really reading this right? And I'm like, okay. And he had told me previously, like, she says she's pregnant with another man's kid, but he'd said like,
See, I never heard this part before. So apparently Chris Watts told her that she was pregnant with somebody else's kid. So that implies that Chris is telling her that Shanann is having an affair, right? Or am I wrong? Did I just hear that wrong?
he could kind of tell in North Carolina, but that girl is like obviously pregnant. I mean, in her photos. I mean, 15 weeks, that's like 4 months. That's pretty far along. And so it's like, how would you not know if she's showing? Like, you totally know she's showing. And so, oh my God, I got so sick. I was just like, I need to go. I just like packed my stuff and I left work and I went home. And I remember I told Jim that I was going to get home early, and he wanted to come over right away. And I was just like, I just needed some time to like process what was going on. But I did tell him, I was like, you can come over earlier than you did yesterday, because he didn't want to wait in traffic. That was the thing. He's like, save me some time. So I don't remember what time.
You know, as far as the plan goes, I just, from what I've seen of Chris Watts, I just can't imagine him coming up with the idea to, you know, hide them at a work site. But it would seem to me like something somebody else would mention. But that's all speculation. You know, apparently Chris Watts does have a fairly above average IQ. So, I mean, he could have, you know, planned it himself. But I just don't see it. I just don't see him being pushed or doing this without being pushed. And one of the things Nichol Kessinger said, I believe already, is that, you know, if I hadn't been with Chris Watts, would this have happened? And I think that's why everybody asked that question. She said it.
He got there. I probably still have that text because I don't have any reason to delete those. But he's so.
See, there's another thing I think people miss. I don't have a reason to delete those. What does that even mean? She had a reason to delete everything else? Or am I just misreading that? I don't have any reason to delete those. I don't know. That's just like, if I was the detective, I would be like, you know, oh my God. So she did do this on purpose. I don't get it.
He came over a little early, but I did have like a gap of time in there. I don't know how long it was. I bet it was like after I got, from the time I got home to the time Jim got there, but it was probably like, I don't know, hour and a half, maybe, somewhere around there. And I remember talking to Chris during this time, and it was like all text. I did not talk to him on the phone at all on Tuesday. And
hey guys, so I always forget to mention this. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. You know, and if you can hit the like button, it does help the YouTube algorithm know that I'm out here and maybe bring more people to the live stream. I always feel weird asking you guys to do that, but I'm going to try to do that more often. I know most of you in the chat I've seen before, so I'm pretty sure you've subscribed. But if you know people who want more content like this, let them know about my channel. And yeah.
I was pretty upset where I was just like, I was going back and forth like, where's your family, this and this and this, but I'm like, she's pregnant, and this and this, and he's like, the baby's not mine, and I'm just like, you told me yesterday that you think that when she said that she cheated on you, she did it out of spite. And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, so then it's your kid. And
so again, she's talking about this affair, and I've heard people bring it up that Shanann was with somebody else, that maybe one of Chris Watts's kids wasn't actually his. I've heard all of these weird rumors, and I don't like dig into them because I just feel like it's fake. But, watching this part of this interview, like I am right now, you hear these little things that kind of plant those ideas in your head. And I believe this is 100% the reason why people talk about those things, is because what she says here.
he kept denying it. And then, like, he started, like, kind of worrying about us. He'd just be like, well, does this ruin everything with us, this and this and this? And I'm like, no. I'm like just trying to, like, his situation is so much more important right now than, like, our situation.
But his main concern is you and him.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, and I keep, like, asking him, like, I'm like, and I told him numerous times, which is also in the text that you guys will pull, where I'm just like, you need to focus on finding your kids and your wife right now. And I was like, and you need to focus on finding all 3 of your kids. And I, like, kept, like, emphasizing.
I think the way she just said that too is like, she's saying that I told him that he needs to be finding his family, but whenever I don't know, she kind of said something about, she kind of brushed over the detective's statement about he might be interested in keeping what he has with her, and she like says it like, well, yeah, of course. I mean, that's what the body language kind of shows. Yeah, he probably is. But I specifically told him, no, he can't do that. He has to think about his family, because at this point, I don't believe that they're dead. I think they're still missing. That's what her whole story has been so far, and what she's kind of continuing right now.
To him like he had 3 kids, and like I wasn't even like mad about it. I was just like, you need to find your family.
Did he ever go look for them that you know of?
I don't know. I don't think so. That like doesn't even like ring a bell to me, so I don't think so.
Okay.
But oh, and I forgot something else that's really important. I will add it in there too, but let me just finish this thought. So then, Tuesday, what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So I kept telling him, I was like, Chris, I know it's yours. It's okay. I was like, go find your family, And it's like, was I hurt? Yes. But at the time I realized, like, his situation with what he had going on was, like, way more important than, like, our situation. And so it was just like I confronted him about it. And then I was like, you need to go find them. And, like, we talked about it for a little while. And then I was just like, I don't remember exactly how it went, but something along the lines where I was like, why can't you just be honest with me? I was like, stop lying to me. Like, stop lying.
Did you have an inclination? You've talked to this man a lot.
So I'm going to stop it here too. So what if Chris did tell her? What if he did? Like, what if she was, completely unaware of what had happened, and she's like completely honest here in this interview? Let's just assume for a second that's the case. And Chris Watts is actually in love with her, and she's actually in love with him. And she makes it clear to Chris that he can tell her the truth. What if he did? I just want to put it out there because it just seems like it might be almost natural for him to do that, because he has, put a lot of trust into her. in a short amount of time. If you think about this relationship from like a psychological kind of point of view, most people in relationships, like long-term relationships, like a marriage, if they get involved with somebody else who's not in a marriage, the person, we'll just say Nichol Kessinger probably doesn't have the same idea of what a relationship should be like as compared to Chris. So, he's thinking about getting out of this one relationship and starting a new long-term relationship. I mean, it doesn't usually work out. That's why they say they call them rebound relationships. So if Chris Watts is trying to get out of one relationship and he's trying to, put somebody else to fill that spot, their relationship's not going to work out. But I just don't see that she had the same like idea of what was going to happen with the relationship. I mean, I could see what she wanted to happen, but I also think that Chris and her would have just like fizzled out if nothing had happened to his family, because it would have been a rebound relationship, and they're going to, eventually get over that first initial like lust part of the relationship and get bored. But I don't know. Maybe it's just the way she presents herself. She just doesn't seem as connected to the relationship as Chris would have been. And I think it's very common for a married person to kind of, go past that like normal like dating phase straight into the long-term relationship, if that makes any sense.
And during this Tuesday, Wednesday conversation, did you feel like he was bullshitting you?
A little bit, kind of, yeah. I mean, because he was like, not Monday. Monday I did not. But Tuesday, yeah, that's when it all started to click. I was like, oh my goodness, because he was like, well, like, he just didn't seem as like concerned as he.
So what day did she actually delete everything on her phone? Would this have been the day after she had asked him what really happened?
He should be, and he was like super worried about shit with us, and I'm just like,
So concerned about his family and overly concerned about your relationship.
yes.
Okay.
And I kept like trying to put it on the back burner. And shame on me for bringing it up in the first place. I was just really taken back. Like, wait a minute. She's 15 weeks. Like, how would you not notice that? Like, I was just like, I was confused. And I was also like, is he lying to me? And I kind of wanted to know because I realized that like there's a situation at hand here. And I'm just like, what is going on? And for part of it, it wasn't even like me trying to find out because I'm upset. It was almost like me trying to find out because I'm like, is there something else I'm missing here? Like, I felt like there was like pieces to this puzzle that I didn't know existed that were like not in place, and it was strange. And so, anyways, I told him, I was like, be honest with me. I was like, don't lie. And I don't remember exactly how it went, but I was like trying to emphasize, like, stop bullshitting me. So he told me the truth. And he told me it was his, and then he knew about it.
Okay.
I was like, okay. And then he asked me again, like, did that ruin everything? And I was like, no, it didn't. And in the back of my head, it's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm not dealing with that. Don't.
I don't believe her. I think, I think she should have thought that, and she probably did after the fact, but maybe she didn't as she presented that information just now and that particular moment. I think she wishes she had thought that. I don't know that she did. And part of the reason that I think that is the way she kind of like cracks in those moments where she talks about Chris, and there's like this like lighter tone in her voice when she talks about their relationship sometimes. And I don't know. I think she should have like found out about the child and then left. And if she found out about the child, the pregnancy ahead of time, she should have left way sooner.
Lie to me. But his situation is so critical right now that's like, I'm not going to like ruffle his mental feathers because they're already like really ruffled because of the situation. So like out of respect for his mental health, I just like dropped it. And I just kept telling him, like, we're okay, we're okay, we're okay. But
How many times do you think he asked you during these phone calls?
Oh, it wasn't a phone call. This was text.
Pardon me.
Text Tuesday.
Text Tuesday. How many times do you think he brought up your relationship and if you guys were okay?
Probably like 2 or 3 times.
And how many times did he bring up concern for his children or his wife?
I think he brought it up a lot too. I mean, he kept telling me that he was like worried about them.
Okay.
I mean, it happened. It wasn't like he was just like spaced out. I mean, he was definitely showing that too. I was just surprised that he was like also showing it for me, because at that moment, if I had some crazy stuff going on with somebody in my family, I would be putting all my relationship stuff on hold. Like, look, like, baby, I got to deal with this. Someone in my family is missing. When I find them, we will talk. And that would just be it. But that's just me. I mean, that's how I would address the situation. And that's kind of how I've been, like, gauging how I handled Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is, like, what would I have done?
Sure.
You know, and kind of, like, that's why, like, I didn't contact you guys on Monday, because I probably wouldn't have done that for one of my friends. And not that I'm cold-hearted. It's just, like, it just, that's just not how me and my friends work. So it didn't, you know. So
There's extenuating circumstances that you wouldn't have known that caused her friends to be concerned. Just so you know, there's nothing wrong with you for not going, oh, something's wrong, and calling the police. The people that provided the information to the police initially had way more information about her than you do. So that's why they came forward. So I can see it, I can feel a little reservation that you're like, why didn't I do something? You didn't know enough. I think a normal person on Monday, a reasonable person is just going, shit, this woman's, whacked out relationship with her husband. She's got 2 kids. Now she's pregnant. She just takes off. So don't blame yourself for not making a phone call to the law enforcement or.
See, I don't know why he's like that. Oh, it's okay, you did this. It's okay, you deleted everything on your phone. I'm trying to find out what day she actually deleted her phone. They should have that information somewhere, right? Because if it was after she had just said that, she was asking Chris Watson texts to just tell her what really happened, did she delete everything on her phone after he told her? Or was it, before that? Because I think that would make her look even more guilty, right?
Going to the police, you didn't know anything, so I'm just trying to help you get past that. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It's not the people that came to us had way more info than you did regarding what was happening with her life.
Okay.
Okay.
So
don't beat yourself up over that. Please don't. Okay.
And then, so Tuesday, after that conversation, I told him, I told him to delete his text, because I knew he was like going crazy texting me, and I didn't want any of his friends to see him texting me, because I don't think they knew about me. It had nothing to do with you guys. It was just like, and you'll see him,
The secrecy of your relationship.
Pretty much. And I just feel like he was texting me so much openly, and he had friends there, that I was like, I didn't want them to see that. And so I was trying to get him to slow down. And then I told him too, after he lied to me, I was just kind of I was done. And I was trying to find a way to get away from the situation without alarming him or panicking him. So I told him everything is all good, I'm still here for you, and I feel bad because I lied to him, but I just try to keep him calm. And then I told him contact me once they find your family, and then we'll talk.
That was Tuesday?
That was Tuesday.
Okay.
And he sent me a text back saying something along the lines of what did he say? Something please just think of and I kept telling him I was scared. I was really freaking scared. In fact, that's another thing I'm missing. I'm so tired. Monday night, I called him back in the middle of the night because I could not sleep. I could not sleep at all. And I remember when I called him, he sounded like he was sleeping. And I was like, how the hell can you sleep right now? That's exactly what I said to him. And he was just I'm just kind of dozing off and on the couch. And I just remember thinking, I haven't shut my eyes yet. And this is not even my family. And so that happened on Monday night. So then I was going somewhere with that had to do with Tuesday. I forgot what it was. I'm so sorry.
Take a breath and relax. We're almost to Wednesday, and then we're out of here.
Yeah. So then, So then once he lied to me, I just really trying to like push him away, and he was like, just don't forget like the person that you knew me to be when you were with me, or something like that, and like.
Was that strange?
It just kind of sounded almost like a farewell, and like I didn't think it was too weird because I was like, I think he realizes that I'm really upset that he lied to me, and I think he's aware of the fact that I'm probably about to walk away from him. So I think that was like his way of like saying goodbye. So it didn't really seem strange in the context of what was going on between like the him and I part of stuff. And then, and I kept asking him too, like, what did you do, Chris? What did you do? And he was like, I didn't do anything. And I'm like, where's...
So I just found the transcript of this. I'm going to pull it up for a second. I think if it'll let me. Sorry, I thought it would just take a second, but. And it froze. So I'm going to go ahead and let this, I guess, play out. While I get this other document.
Your family, and like I asked him that. I don't know if I started doing that on Tuesday or if I started doing that on Monday, but I think it was Tuesday, because I don't really think I was that alarmed on Monday. And then, so that was supposed to be like our final sign-off text. And then Jim got there at my house, and I was hanging out with Jim. But I was still like in my head, just kind of like stressed out. And I remember I like walked out of the room, went in my bedroom, and texted Chris one more time. And I told him, I was like, if you did something bad, I was like, you're going to ruin your life. And I was like, and if you did something bad, I was like, you're going to ruin my life. And I was like, and I promise you that. And he responded back to me, and he's like, I didn't hurt my family, Nikki. And that was like the last text. That was the last time we ever talked. And I never said another word to him after that.
That was Tuesday.
That was Tuesday. And then he left me alone. He gave me the space that I asked him. He respected it. And he didn't, like, mess with me at all.
Was that a phone?
So hopefully you guys can see this. It's going to take me a while to get. So this is the transcript of this interview. And where was I? So we should be somewhere right about here, where she just said, it kind of sounded like a farewell. I didn't think it was too weird because I was like, I think he realizes that I'm really upset and that he lied to me. This document is good to look at when you watch this video because it helps you see how she's going back and forth with what she says. But I'll go ahead and play the video again, and I'll add this document to a share file so you guys could look at it. I'll put it in the description.
That's all Tuesday, text Tuesday.
Text Tuesday.
All
text.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Everything was text. I did not talk to that man on the phone at all that day. I mean, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was all text. And then...
So at that time in your mind, if you said that, what are you thinking? What were you thinking, that he maybe did something to his family?
Yeah, I started getting really scared.
What caused that thought?
The fact that he lied to me.
Okay.
And that she still wasn't home, and it was day 2. Like, I figure if you're upset for a day, you leave for a day, but you come back. And she wasn't back. And it was, like, midday. And not only that, but, like, She doesn't have her phone. She doesn't have her car. She doesn't have the kids' EpiPen. She doesn't have any of that. So what I'm thinking in my head is like, for a night, if you're really upset, somebody comes one of your friends picks you up, like, okay. But I can't explain that for 2 days. Like, that just doesn't, like, logically process in my mind as something that any woman I know would do. The one-night thing, I know women that would do that. But the two-night thing, no. And so I'm like, she's still not back. Annie just lied to me. And it made me, like, I just started getting scared. And I remember, like, telling him that throughout the whole day. Like, I don't even know how many times I texted him that. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, like, 8-10 times. Where I'm just like, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. And one of the last texts that I sent to him, too, I told him, I said, I'm scared because I feel like I don't know who you are anymore. And
his response to that?
I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I think that was, like, in that, like, sign-off text that I sent to him.
Okay.
But, I mean, I was, like, kind of scared. What I was really scared for was scared for his family's well-being because, it's like, I don't know where these people are at this point, and it's scary. I mean, it's scary that she's gone, but it's even more scary to me that these little girls are gone. Like, that was the part that really freaked me out. Like, if it was just her, I'd be like, well, maybe she took off with somebody, maybe she didn't. I mean, I don't know, because she's a grown woman and she can make those choices.
Was some of this scared, was there fear in you that people were going to find out about your relationship too?
No, I didn't even care
At
about
that
that
point,
at that
there was
point. I was just, like, scared, like, of the situation. It was, like, getting escalated, and it was freaking me out. And he was just, like, not... He was strange. So, another thing, so that was Tuesday, and that was it for Tuesday, but I forgot some stuff on Monday that I did need to bring up to you guys. So, Monday, when we were on the phone, at one point, he mentioned to me, I can't even believe I have to say this, she left her wedding ring here. And I said something along the lines of, does that mean you two are done? And he was like, he said, how much do you think it's worth? And I was like, remember hearing him say that and being like, what the fuck? And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't even know how to respond to this. And so I was like, I don't know, pawn it, man. And I was just like,
That's kind of crazy. Pawn your wedding ring. I think that sounds like somebody who's trying to help him get away with it, to me. I think, pawn it. Let's go to Mexico, right? Hey, Tori.
like, I pawn jewelry all the time. I was like,
So I'm actually still trying to look for where she says when she deleted everything on her phone. And I think she said Monday, and I'm trying to confirm it. I don't see it anywhere.
I pawned jewelry a few times. I was like, it's not worth shit, though. And I was like, so I don't know if you really want to do that. And he's like, no, I think I'm going to get it appraised. It's a nice rock. And I was just like, okay. And it was, like, really awkward.
Another thing, was he, like, hinting to her that this could be yours? Or is she hoping that...
That was on Monday?
That was on Monday night. And that, to me, was like... It was kind of strange. And then the Tuesday lying thing, like, I'm telling you, it started, like, Monday night, him saying that was why I couldn't sleep, because he made the comment about the wedding ring.
Okay.
And then Tuesday, her still not coming home, and then him lying to me, and I was just like, oh my God, like, what if something happened? And it was, like, really hard for me to
When you say, what if something happened, what were you thinking?
Like, what if somebody took her? Like, could he possibly hurt her? And that was, like, the first time that I think, genuinely considered, did this man hurt his wife? And it was, like, hard for me to grasp. And I thought about it a lot, and I waited for the night because I wanted to see if she would come home. And it was already pretty late, and I had company, and I was just like, let me just see how this plays out. And my buddy Jim left, I don't know, probably like 9 or 10. Probably it's like the same time he always leaves. And then I couldn't sleep again. It was really bad. And I woke up in the morning and I saw the interview that he had with the newspapers. And he just looked really different to me.
How so?
the light in his eyes is gone. They're like a different color now.
The way she says it's a little bit creepy, right? So I'm trying to look back through the transcript here so I can find out when she says that she deleted her phone, and I think I found it. And when I share this document, I think it's on page 35. I'm trying to pull it up now. But she says she deleted everything on her phone once she found out about on Tuesday, I think. So she had asked Chris the day before to tell her what happened. And I just can't seem to find it. I just found it, but
It's like he has no soul. I swear to God. I saw it and I was just like, look at his eyes. I saw his mugshot. They're not even the same color. Like when you guys retrieve the pictures that are on my phone, look at his eyes then.
she does kind of sound freaked out when she describes it this way. I mean, if it's fake, she's faking it pretty good.
Compared to now, like, it's the scariest shit I think I've ever seen in my life. It freaked me out. I was like, that's not even the same man that I know. And it was really uncomfortable. But anyways, I saw that report in the morning. And I was just to the point where I was just like, all right, like, something happened. This woman is missing. Whether it was him or someone else. I know, like, a woman went missing not too long ago in Longmont. Like, I think it was like 2 months ago or something like that. And you guys, not you guys, but somebody up there called off the search on her. I don't think they ever found her. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe that's connected. Maybe somebody came and got her. Maybe he did something. I don't know. But I knew, like, it was a problem. And at this point, I was like, I'm in a very messy situation with this man. And I don't know what to do. And so I called my dad, because he's like the only person that I trust with everything in the whole world. And I was just like, I have a problem. And I told him everything. And then I was like, we just discussed it. And it was like, we need to go to cops. Definitely. Because I figured you guys would find me eventually. But I was like, I feel like they need to speak to me. I feel like I'm a very important person for you guys to communicate
You are.
with. And so, you know, and again, I wish I'd have done it sooner, but it just kind of took the sequence of events of his lies and all of his bullshit falling apart for me to process that I needed to address the situation. And so, you know, and the time. And so that to me, and another thing he lied to me on, I caught him on Monday night, he was like, oh, it was right after the wedding ring thing. He was talking about, it might have been before, one of the two, but he was like talking about how he like reflected on North Carolina, and he was talking about how he wanted the separation and all this stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought you were the one trying to make peace with her, and she's the one who didn't want it. He's like, no, I wanted it. And I was just like, okay. And another thing on Monday night, his breathing was like, oh, it was like his voice would crack sometimes. But I didn't, like, condemn him for anything like that, because I was like, well, yeah, he's probably stressed the hell out. His family's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, I don't know. So that happened. And then,
He never made any admissions to you about anything that he had done.
no.
He never said anything about doing, or at any time, not just in these days, but during your relationship, did he ever say anything about hurting his wife, his children?
Never.
And
Never.
then on these conversations from Monday to Tuesday, did he ever say that, somebody did something to them? Or did he ever give an excuse to you how this could have happened?
No, I mean, he...
Other
he
than
was,
they just were going to a friend's house.
Yeah, or he was like, yeah, I think she's like with one of her friends, she doesn't want to talk to me kind of thing. But
So-
other than that, no. I mean, like, he told me, like, yeah, she said she was with another man, but I think it was out of spite. Like, he never really, like, held that she was with another dude. Like, he never was like, yeah, she's with some guy. Like, she said it, but I don't think she meant it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what he was, like, directing towards me. But no, I think that's why I gave him the benefit of the doubt so long. Like, he's always been such a civil, gentle man to me. And he's always been pretty calm and, like, level-headed when he talks about the differences between him and his wife. And I mean, that's a sensitive subject. And he never, ever seemed like he was, like, aggressive about it. I mean, he was always just, like, chill. And he never talked ill of his children. He was always so bubbly about them. Like, those were his babies. So when all of this happened, I was just like, what the fuck? And
So that brings me to a question real quick. I mean, I don't think anybody over the last 6 or 8 weeks knows this dude better than you. I really don't. You guys probably spent more time together than anybody. Conversation, whatever, relationship. What do you think? What's the catalyst for this event? Do you have any? Have you had? And I know it's a hard question, but I want to get it out now. We're here. If there's a thought that you have that might lead us to understand a little bit why he might have done something like this. Like I said, I met Chris on Wednesday, so I don't know Chris, not like you do.
you know, I've thought about this, and sometimes I think to myself, if I wasn't in that man's life.
This is the part that everybody asks on a daily basis about this case right here. This line specifically.
Would his family still be alive? And I've thought about this a lot, and I think I could give myself different responses. But in all honesty, I think they might be alive, but not permanently. I do not
What does that mean? You know?
think that this man just snapped. I don't think that he just met some fucking amazing woman and he was just gonna try to fucking murder his family and then think that I was okay with, like, building a relationship with somebody who did something like that. Like, at what fucking point, you know? And not only that, like, I always try to say, you know, like, when we get to a point where we've been together long enough, I would love to meet your children. Like, I never discluded them from anything. Like, I remember coming back from Colorado Springs and I was like, oh my God, they got the Cheyenne Zoo down here. You gotta take your kids.
See, I don't know. I'm going to have to play through that part again. So I think it's about right
I know
here.
Chris, not like you do.
You guys got to listen to
You know,
this.
I've thought about this, and sometimes.
This doesn't sound like they only knew each other for 6 weeks, the way she describes this whole situation. But to her credit, I do think that it does sound realistic. I mean, she could be faking it. I know a lot of people think that, but the way she kind of gets angry at the idea that he would think that she would actually be okay with being with somebody who did something like this. It really does sound believable to me. But at the same time, when she goes after this part, that's when it starts sounding weird again. And I mentioned it earlier. When she talks about her relationship with Chris, everything gets a little bit lighter, you know, in her voice.
I think to myself, if I wasn't in that man's life, would his family still be alive? And I've thought about this a lot, and I think I could give myself different responses. But in all honesty, I think they might be alive, but not permanently. I do not think that this man just snapped. I don't think that he just met some fucking amazing woman and he was just gonna try to fucking murder his family and then think that I was okay with, like, building a relationship with somebody who did something like that. Like, at what fucking point, you know? And not only that, like, I always try to say, you know, like, when we get to a point where we've been together long enough, I would love to meet your children. Like, I never discluded them from anything. Like, I remember coming back from Colorado Springs and I was like, oh my God, they got the Cheyenne Zoo down here. You gotta take your kids, and like you can feed the giraffes and they would love it. And like, I always try to like show him cool things. Like, hey man, would your kids like this? Because my nephew would like this. Like, check this out. You know, like I said,
She wanted kids, I think. And I think she was actually excited to meet the kids. she sounds like she brought it up a few times, even though she said she never really did talk about it. I think she did.
Screenshot of some rainbow unicorn Lucky Charms the other day. I was like, do your daughters know about these? Because I bet these are epic. Like little things like that where it's like genuinely, like I care. I do. Like, despite how messy this is and how I'm sure I'm going to be portrayed in the media and everything, like, I care about, like, his well-being with his children and all of that. And so, for me, like, when I think of what was he going through his head, I find it really hard to believe that I am the catalyst.
I think she was the catalyst, and I think she knows she was also the catalyst, but I've kind of got it written out here for the timeline of when she deleted everything on her phone. And I don't think she actually specifically says exactly when she deleted it. I'm sure the police know the date that everything got deleted. I'm sure there's timestamps on some of this stuff. But if you look at that document that I'm going to be posting in the link later, in the description with the link later, this is where you find it. You'll see the page number there on the screen and the line number. So if you remember looking at this, see these numbers here on the side? Those are line numbers. And there's 101 pages. So she says, I kept telling him, you need to tell me the truth. This is on page 35. I need you to tell me the truth. I feel like you're lying to me. He was quiet. He wasn't making sense. And then he told me my family's not home. This is on. So that first response was Sunday night. That was during the 2-hour call. Then Monday, he told me my family's not home. He said I have to go to the cops are here. Nikki insisted they call the cops. So that's why the cops are there. And then she called telling him later that she couldn't sleep. She called him back on Monday night. He sounded like he was sleeping. And I said, how can you be sleeping? And then Tuesday morning, that's when she read the newspaper articles. And she realized that he actually was lying to her. And she says, when I deleted those, I was just kind of grossed out by him. And she's kind of inferring that it was Tuesday. So she had just asked him to tell him the truth the day before. And then maybe he did. And then she deleted her phone, everything on her phone. That's kind of why I think that. And I think that's, yeah. And then, she says a little bit earlier, on page 21, she's talking about, I deleted all of his stuff because he lied to me. I don't think that's a good enough excuse. And then the major red flags that we talk about a lot are the timing gap for that 111-minute phone call, where she says that she doesn't remember it at all. And she remembers so much other stuff. The emotional tone of the way she's talking about this, she's grossed out rather than afraid, but she does say she's afraid. She did at least say it. And I don't know, when she talked about his eyes, that was kind of scary the way she said it. Like if I was sitting there with her while she's like doing that thing with her eyes and like talking with that like disconnected voice, it was like the light went out in his eyes. It's like she watched somebody die, and I think that's why people are so suspicious of her. The way she describes the eyes, she got really dark there when she said that. And I don't know if she's telling the truth. I don't know if she's like pulling from other memories of other events that we don't know about, but it's there. You can see it, and it's kind of creepy.
I will be willing to say that I think me being in his life accelerated what was inevitably about to happen. But I don't think people just snap. Love does not murder. Hate and resentment murder. That's the way I look at that. I do not know what is the truth anymore and what's not, and I don't have all of the details. But this is just my opinion, but I'm pretty convinced.
As far as I know, I don't think they actually were together, at least in the documented stuff, that they were actually together after Shanann got back home. I don't remember seeing. I could be wrong, but I don't remember seeing that they specifically were together. I've heard people mention that they were together afterwards, but I don't know that they actually were. As far as what she's been saying so far is that they texted. They weren't even talking. She saw his eyes, Molly, whenever she watched the police or the news interview of him on the porch.
That woman and him did not get along very well, and the reason they stuck together was, hey, we're going to do kids, and I think they also stuck together because they were in a very bad financial bind, and I think that she continuously disregarded it, and I think he messed up because he was too passive to say anything to her about it and really address it, and it just got to the point where it's just you file bankruptcy, and then what do? Just wait till you file the next one? I don't know. I don't know what their finances look like now, but from the way it made it sound, it's probably a pretty stark situation. And I don't know if hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over and over and over again are enough to lead a man to want to take somebody out, but I don't know. I've heard of people committing suicide over that shit before, and I would never justify what he did. I think it's fucking disgusting. He's such a fucking pig, but I try to be why? I try to come up with a why. And I really think that he was struggling with her really bad. And not only that, he's got a third child on the way. And I know he was probably just I can't fucking afford a third kid. Wants it, but can't afford it, And he always told me he wanted a little boy. He wanted a third child.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that.
See, I think this part right here kind of sound a little bit faked for the camera. The way she says this
Look like now, but from the way it made it sound, it's probably a pretty stark situation. And I don't know if hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over and over and over again are enough to lead a man to want to take out, I sent him a screenshot of some.
I'm going back just a little bit so we hear that again.
Get to a point where we've been together long enough. I would love to meet your children. Me being in his life accelerated what was inevitably about to happen, but I don't think people just snap. Love does not murder. Hate and resentment murder. That's the way I look at that. I do not know what is the truth anymore and what's not, and I don't have all of the details. But
see, something that you might have missed too is she said, I don't know what is the truth is or isn't, she's been gaslighted. I don't know. I mean, some of this stuff comes across as weird the way she says it, but that statement I can kind of feel, what she's saying.
This is just my opinion, but I'm pretty convinced that woman and him did not get along very well. And the reason they stuck together was, hey, we're going to do kids. And I think they also stuck together because they were in a very bad financial bind. And I think that she continuously disregarded it. And I think he messed up because he was too passive to say anything to her about it and really address it. And it just got.
I think she got a little angry when she talks about how passive he was.
To the point where it's just you file bankruptcy, and then what do? Just wait till you file the next one? I don't know. I don't know what their finances look like now, but from the way it made it sound, it's probably a pretty stark situation. And I don't know if hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over and over and over again are enough to lead a man to want to take somebody out, but I don't know. I've heard of people committing suicide over that shit before, and I would never justify what he did. I think it's fucking disgusting.
This part right here, it sounds fake to me.
He's such a
all of it sounds fake.
fucking pig, but I try to like be like, why? I try to come up with a why. And I really think that,
You know, the way she describes the finances and the way she talks about what do you do? Just go through bankruptcy every time you rack up $100,000 in debt. You know, it almost sounds like she's had that conversation before with somebody. You know, maybe that's what they were talking about during that 111-minute phone call. You know, it sounded like she was angry about that, and that, you know, she asked, she probably told Chris, well, what are you going to do? Just keep going, getting bankruptcy after bankruptcy? You know, you got to do something about this. Maybe she didn't say you got to take out your family, but maybe that's how he interpreted it. I mean, I don't know. Nobody really knows what they talked about. Um, and I just find it weird that she can't remember that when she remembers everything else.
he was struggling with her really bad, and not only that, he's got a third child on the way, and I know he was probably just like, I can't fucking afford a third kid. Wants it, but can't afford it, you know? And he always told me he like wanted a little boy, you know? He wanted a third child.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that it was just something like, I think they were in a financial situation, and I think she was very non-responsive to him trying to like solve problems and like get out of the situations that they were in. And I think people just get complacent is what it is. And then, you know, I think he met me, and I think I was like a breath of fresh air for him, where it was like he could get away and just be like, you know what, I can be myself. I don't have to worry about money right now. Like, you know, and this girl, like, I have my shit together. Like, my life is so like very in
You
order.
seem very organized and independent and dialed
Always.
in
Like, I do
for
really
30.
good. I do really good at work. I have like almost a perfect credit score. I've been saving money for a house. Like, I don't mess around. I mean, I screwed up. This is like my one screw up ever, and it's about to be on like national news. But just very dialed in, and I think it was like a breath of fresh air for him to like be around something like that, because I don't think that he knew that that was like a real thing. And he had told me that like numerous times. He's like, I didn't know like women like you like existed. It's just like, all right, like I don't, and when he meant it, it was just like just.
I think that line probably won her over, the way she kind of just, you know, said it. Like, it looked like she got embarrassed when she said that there's no one else like you. I think it probably worked on her when he said that. I didn't know girls like you existed.
Like the way you run your life, and
You
so
can't see her
you're
face
really young,
that
you know,
clearly,
and so
you know, but
to answer your question, I think inevitably it was going to happen. I think it just got propelled faster. I mean, I don't understand what he would have achieved with, if he wanted to be with me that bad, what he would have achieved with me by doing what he did. I think his situation at home was way, way deeper than anything him and I ever had, and it led to that. And I don't know what happened in that conversation that they had, but I kind of have a feeling that it wasn't even about her pregnancy or another man or me. I have a feeling it was about money.
So drilling down, you think money
I
for
think
him
it's-
is the biggest downfall. You guys, I mean, beyond their relationship, really, I don't.
hey guys, I just want to bring this up again to please like and subscribe to my channel. If you're not already subscribed, hit the alert button so you don't miss out on events like this one. And make sure you're hitting that like button.
Know that you know too much about the relationship or the particular issues other than monetary issues, financial issues. That sounds like what you guys talked about when you talked about their relationship.
I mean, like, he told me other things, like they really didn't like sleep together, too much stuff like that, but I feel like a lot of husbands and wives don't do that. But it was like, oh, of course you don't. That's why you're coming to me, you know? No, I think I just, like, me being in his life just pushed that forward. I honestly think that there's probably a good possibility that this would have just happened. Like, further down the road. Where
So
it
did
would've
you
just-
see that before yesterday or Tuesday, or was that just kind of something that you have reflected on and you've thought about this now going, man, now that I see that in this guy, or just because of the lifestyle he was living, and if he didn't get removed from it, this was going to happen sooner rather than later, like you said?
If I was to reflect on anything over like the past few weeks, besides like the stuff in the last few days, where you're like, hey, is there like any red flags? I would say like no. But one thing I did notice one time is we were sitting on my couch and I was telling him like my house, I have a really beautiful house. Like it's set up like really nice, but everything I have is like from Craigslist or Goodwill. Like I have pieced it together and it's all, or like marked down stuff, and I have pieced it together in a way like, it's pretty, huh? It's a pretty house, but you would never guess that like everything I got is like super discount. And one day we were sitting on my couch and we were just like bullshitting about some stuff, and I was telling him like, oh yeah, like I got this marked down in American Furniture because like the corner was dented, and like I got this one off a guy on Craigslist, and I put it all, and I was like telling him, I was like, I put it all together, and I was like, to me, it was like, material things don't make a home. I was like, it's the energy and the love that you bring to the home. I was like, it's not about what it looks like. I was like, it's about what you like bring to it, like mentally.
See, I think there's no real, I mean, like what she's saying right now to Chris Watts is like, everything he's probably ever wanted to hear. And she's saying it and he's listening. And that's why he was in that relationship. He was trying to change what he had. If Shanann and him were having problems with finances, with overspending, and all of those things that we've talked about before, it would make sense that when he found somebody who like did those things, but we don't know if Nichol Kessinger only got those things the way she just described it, as because she can't afford it to get the real stuff. I mean, we don't know we just don't know. And hey, LK, LK said that Chris Watts and NK definitely spoke more about more than what she shared here. I feel all those moments she said was vague. She didn't want to be held to it, and she thought it would go to trial, and her dad wanted Chris Watts to plea. I hadn't heard that her dad wanted him to plea. That's interesting. If they were talking at this point still somehow, do you think he would have listened to her if she said, "Hey, just make a plea deal"? I don't know, but if I was Chris Watts, I don't think I would believe everything that she's saying to him, and the way she's explaining it sounds like a brochure to a happy life to me, but to him it probably sounded real. He probably didn't have any reason not to trust her, but she's mentioned a couple times that she thought he was more into the relationship than what she was, which I kind of believe, just because she doesn't seem to have the right, like she just doesn't have the emotional, like, I don't know, just the way she talks about everything. It feels like she doesn't have that connection. She's detached, but it's hard to say.
And he like collapsed in my lap and gave me like the biggest, most genuine hug I think that man has ever given me.
Yeah, I think that translates to is probably the biggest hug she's ever received.
And he just laid there and he was just like, you were so different. And I didn't even say anything. I just like put my fingers in his hair and just let him chill
She wants to be a mommy.
there. And I assumed that had to do with the finances. But it
Chris wants to be a boy again.
didn't like stress me out. It was just like this relief sigh where he just like dropped into my arms. And I didn't like really think too much of that event, except for that I was like, this was like, it was like a really genuine hug, like collapsed into my lap, like just so relieved. And I didn't really think much of it until like I started reading about like their bankruptcy and all this other shit. And I was like,
if Chris Watts hadn't, messed things up by murdering his family, I don't think Nichol Kessinger would have found these little like what she just described, the way she describes it. She's kind of like "Oh, well, it was a good thing. I'm glad he did that." It's not said specifically, but it's kind of implied, that she didn't say anything. She just like tried to comfort him by petting his hair and stuff. Um, you know, I don't think she would have liked those things about him, just like his wife probably didn't like those things about him. But he clearly, I mean, just the way she described that situation, he's like, he wants to be a kid. He wants to be taken care of. He wants to be coddled. He doesn't want to be the one in charge. And so he finds women who will take charge. And I think if he'd have stayed with Nichol Kessinger, um, the exact same scenario would have played out again. And, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I bet Shanann liked those qualities about Chris Watts in the beginning also. But it gets annoying. I think it's just natural that you just don't want that. You want somebody who's in control of their own life, at least 95% of the time, and maybe more.
Oh. So I think it might have been bigger than he let on, because he never told me about his bankruptcy.
Sure.
He just told me about his current financials, and he didn't even get that in depth, but I'm assuming they're trashed. And so, yeah, I think her spending all that money and not listening to him, and him not standing up for himself in a calm and,
Just to elevate.
yeah.
Last hard
just
question
kinda-
regarding this.
Go ahead.
And then I have just two cursory questions regarding something else, and then I think maybe Tim has a few questions for you. But I think what you say about the finances directly at his wife. Do you think that goes to the children as well? Because she took, did she treat them like that, like they were gold and they got everything as well that you know of? Or do you think there's a separate issue for why he may have done what he did to his children other than financial?
That part I don't have an answer for. I can't fucking explain that. I don't even think there is an answer. I don't even think there's any sort of like computing up here that could possibly give a rational explanation for why that would have happened. I mean, the only thing that I've honestly thought of when I play the scenario over in my head is that maybe they woke up and saw him doing in their mom, and he was like, fuck.
I think a lot of people have wondered this same thing, but she kind of gets a little quieter again when she talks about it, like maybe she knows.
Now I got to do this too. I don't know. I'm like, why? Because they were like his like little lifeline. He that was everything to him. And I get like those two have problems.
But he had a great relationship, but from what you're accounting is
With his
he
kids?
loved his children.
Yeah, like that part. It's oh my god, that's the worst part of this whole mess. The worst part of this whole mess.
We won't dwell on it. We don't have to dwell on it.
No.
Let me ask you.
But so no, I don't have an explanation. That's the only thing I can possibly plausibly think of is maybe they saw it, but other than that, I don't know what the fuck.
Okay. Who's Charlotte?
Are you asking me who's Charlotte?
Mhm.
Like one of my friends?
Mm-hmm.
She's like a really good friend of mine. Why?
Did you have some conversations with her regarding another boyfriend
No.
that you might have met on eHarmony? Or did she meet somebody on eHarmony?
No, she's engaged.
Okay.
She's engaged.
So there's some text messages that we got off your phone, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I'm asking this is because if he found out maybe you had another boyfriend, you understand my line of questioning, that looked like maybe you had another boyfriend. And I don't know if that's this Jim guy, that maybe you guys were, no, I'm not saying that he's your boyfriend, that when we were interpreting the text messages, that it seemed like he might, this man came to my house, he has a key to my house, that you're saying right now. When I look at that from my perspective.
Did she really give him a key to her house after only 6 weeks? That's kind of scary. Don't do that.
Jim may be another boyfriend for you.
Oh, no. Charlotte is like my oldest friend.
So did you have a conversation with Charlotte about Jim?
I mean, sometimes we talk about him. We're all friends.
did you guys ever have a conversation about eHarmony? That's the
I mean,
kind of
possibly. I
online-
was on there for a while.
Okay.
But I didn't actually ever go out on any dates with guys from eHarmony. Not
Okay.
one. Like, I talked to a couple guys on there, but I was like, no, I didn't go on any
Does eHarmony still exist? I remember seeing commercials about that.
dates.
So the only reason would be another potential reason for him to be upset.
No, he knew about Jim. He's always known that Jim is one of my good friends,
Okay.
and I lay it out for people at the beginning. Like, I have friends that are male, I have friends that are female. These are my friends. That's what it is. Like,
Okay.
he never, to me, seemed like jealous of Jim by, like, any means. So, no, I'm curious what text you're talking about with Charlotte.
I
I'll look
have
that up.
like
I talked to that girl so
I have
much.
153 pages of text messages, so I can't. If I could pull it up, I would, but I don't know where it is.
I thought you guys just got my text.
We got when we ask for everything. For 7 days they give us everything.
Oh, so why did you need to just do that if you just had them?
Because I don't know that they're completely accurate. Again, what they send me is I don't have any way to verify that they're accurate.
Gotcha.
And if you delete a text message,
See, that is a little suspicious too. She's like, well, why'd you have to do that? And, it's like, she's like probing for, well, what did you find that you think I said? I mean, she knows he's trying to catch her in a lie. I don't know. There's just so many things in this that just seem weird to me and to a lot of you guys too.
sometimes those are not retained by carriers. They're still on your handset. There's a way to recover them from your phone, but they may not be held. There are certain carriers that don't even keep text messages, and I won't tell you who those people are, but they don't keep them. We can't even get our hands on them because they don't have a database. They don't pay the money. They're stored on your stuff and your stuff only. So that's why we ask for it. And some of those things disappear in 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, unless we ask them to keep them. And sometimes we don't know in time. So that's why we do it too. Okay? So just, it was a question because it also would provide potentially a motive for what Chris did if he found out that you had another boyfriend.
Why would
Maybe-
he kill his family?
Well, he
He's not
wigs
that
out that he
boyfriend.
finds out that you have a boyfriend and just loses it altogether.
So what do you guys think? What is this is this detective here barking up the wrong tree, or is he pushing on something? I don't know. I think, he just said this could be reason for, motive. So I think that they were very suspicious of her. I just can't figure out why they didn't do anything.
Do you understand? Because he's already losing his wife, and now his new girlfriend has another boyfriend, and he can't. There's multiple reasons why. It was a concern. That
His cheese slid off his cracker.
Another one of those creepy statements. The way she says that kind of gives me like this really creepy vibe. I don't know. That was probably one of the creepiest things she's said so far. His cheese slid off his cracker, and it sounds like something that you would see in a scary movie.
So sad. I don't know. He's like not even the same. I look at those like mug shots and they're scary. They scare me.
Yeah, that's what you said about that video too. It didn't. I had noticed it was. I would have been a wreck. Oof.
I don't know. I mean, I volunteered with some guys for when I did the armed military stuff that had PTSD, and they were telling me when they went through trauma that they like kind of locked up. So like, I didn't even think it was the fact that he was calm that freaked me out.
Oh,
It
when
was
you were
like
helping
his
those guys out,
eyes.
from
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was his, like, that part didn't, because I was like, I've seen, there's these guys that have been in battle that I've worked with that are like, yeah, I've experienced this is how I handle my trauma, and they're, like, very, like, just kind of like zombies. But, so I didn't hold that against him, it was just his eyes, and just the light is gone from his eyes.
So let me just finish just with a couple quick questions here, but besides the obvious, and what he's done, what's the worst thing about this guy? Did you ever have just some sense? You seem to be pretty together with who you date, people you hang around with. You seem to know a lot about people. Was there some impression
Chris Watts.
No, I thought we
WATTS.
did watch this real quick. Sorry, I didn't mean for it to auto start playing.
Right now it's
So, what do you guys think? Is there like a darkness in his eyes? Like, because that's not something I've really noticed. He seems pretty normal. I mean,
you got K9 units, the sheriff's department. Everybody's
he's
like
obviously
they're doing their
fine.
best right now to figure out like if they can get a scent, see where they went. If they went on foot, they went in a car, or they went somewhere. And right now it's just like they've been on point. They're going through the house trying to get a scent, and hopefully they can pick something up to where it's going to lead to something.
What happened? Your wife came home. Tell me what's.
She came home from the airport 2 a.m. and I left around 5:15. She was still here, and like about 12:10 in that afternoon, her friend Nicole showed up at the door. Like I had texted Shanann a few times that day, called her, say but she never got back to me. But she wasn't getting back to any of her people as well, and that's what really concerned a lot of people. Is like if she's not getting back to her, like if she doesn't get back to me, that's fine. Like she gets busy during the day, but she didn't get back to her people, which was very concerning. And Nicole called me when she was at the door, and that's when I came home. And then walked in the house, and nothing was vanished. Nothing was here. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know that I agree, but maybe she sees something we don't.
The whole
Negative?
time, like the whole time we were together.
Yeah. Anything negative that sticks out?
I didn't think anything negative. I mean, like I have preferences. Like I thought he was like, I don't want to use the word clingy because it's fucked up. He was like really. He was a lot more into me than I was into him, and it didn't make.
Time?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed his company, though. I mean, enough so that I kept everything going despite the situation, and I mean, like it didn't scare me or anything. It's just like I don't move that fast.
Okay.
So I think things
What were
were
his
moving.
long-term plans with you? What did he discuss with you?
Like, I mean, we'd like bullshit about it every once in a while and be like, oh yeah, like I asked him, I was like, if you didn't have that big house, because he didn't want to live in it, and he had made it very clear he didn't pick that out, he didn't, none of that. I was like, well, if you could have a house that you wanted, what would your house look like? And he would tell me, he's like, I want a little ranch home, like it doesn't need all these floors, just a few bedrooms, enough space for my kids, maybe some property so they can like run around, 2-car garage, maybe 3, put the old sports car in there because he liked cars, stuff like that. You know what I tell him? I'm like, I'm simple too, so if you end up doing that and we end up staying together, let's do it. But it was never like, sell your house, let's go buy a house. Like it was very...
You ever say anything about getting married?
To me?
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a thing where it was like offhandedly, like one day maybe.
Yeah, the way she talks about his kids especially is kind of creepy. It's like she's trying to be, trying to show him, hey, I can be, your replacement wife. Yeah, it's hard to know what was actually going on through her mind during this whole thing, but everyone knows. I mean, I think it's in every like movie, it's like almost cliche that when you date whoever you date after your most recent long-term relationship is going to be a rebound and they don't work out. There's the cliche, you don't date a married man. He never leaves the wife, so I mean, why are they still together? And they don't sound like they've been just together for a few weeks like she says. It's all one big giant red flag to me. And as I've said, I don't know that red flags make you guilty, just makes you suspicious. And she is definitely suspicious.
This will happen, but again, it was like I did not take these as very like deep conversations. It wasn't like this is when we're going to get married. This is what's going to go on.
The question is, did Chris think they were deep
And you knew him
conversations?
for how long? In
Brief.
total, just not dating him, but I mean, when were you first aware of him? How long?
I don't know. Probably the beginning of June or maybe May. So like 2.5, 3 months tops. I mean, this is all like really fresh. Like all of this is compounded into like a very small time frame.
Very quick.
Yes.
Has he worked for the company for a while?
Yeah. I don't know how long. I want to say like 5 or 6 years off the top of my head, but I don't know. But
Did he
he's
supervise people? Do you know anything about that?
yeah, kind of. So he was an operator, and the way the operators are set up at Anadarko is they have operator 1, operator 2, operator 3. But then each operator is like broke down into like the basic guy, the medium guy, and like the foreman. And then it starts all over again. So he is still on level 1 of the operators, but he's like the top dog on the level 1 of the operators.
Okay. The whole time you've known him, this 2 or 3 months, did he ever complain of anything, any medical issues whatsoever? And did you ever pick up on
Hey,
anything?
Karen.
Is he allergic to anything? Does he have any, you know, a special diet, anything that's messing with him physically?
Not that I'm aware.
See, I think it's interesting they ask about the special diet, and she doesn't mention the Thrive patches, you know, or maybe she does. I guess we'll find out in a sec. But hey, Karen, thanks for joining. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Hey, Andrea.
Okay, how about psychologically? Do you ever think there's something wrong with this guy?
No,
I mean,
I
isn't-
wouldn't have dated him if I did. He honestly, I mean, maybe because I thought he was like one of the like most laid back and like decent men I'd ever met, and I just haven't met a lot of people like that. But I mean, no, not up until all this stuff started happening. Then I was like, whoa, you are not the person that I thought you were. But prior to that, no, not at
Okay.
all. I really didn't. I enjoyed his company.
You think he was dating anyone else?
No.
No way?
No.
Okay.
He was way too invested in that.
Was the relationship was it sexual right off the bat?
Pretty close. I mean,
How could she talk about this with a straight face in front of her dad? You know, I don't know. I've heard of Chris seeing somebody else. I've heard that. I haven't been able to like see where that rumor started from, but there's supposedly some information out there suggesting that Chris Watts was seeing somebody else besides Nichol Kessinger, or at least maybe even before Nichol Kessinger or during the same time as dating Nichol Kessinger. And if that could be proven, I think that would change everyone's opinion of Chris, because everyone, I think, and you know, it seems like everyone just assumes that he was 100% attached to this relationship with Nichol Kessinger, which is typical of somebody in a long-term relationship who's trying to get out of it. That's why they, you know, it becomes, you know, a rebound eventually when it doesn't work out, but it's because they attach, they basically swap out the feelings they're having for their partner and, you know, put it on somebody else. That somebody else doesn't usually like that much pressure. The weight of the relationship is different, and they break up eventually. And yeah.
like once we got it to be like where we're hanging out outside of work, yeah. I mean, it wasn't like immediate, but shortly following that, yes. And then it just continued.
Okay. Pretty consistently throughout the relationship. So kind of hot and heavy. You mentioned that maybe you guys were sending some photos back and forth. What kind of photos is he sending you?
Well, see, he would like send me like workout photos, stuff like that. He sent me a couple of inappropriate pics. I did not request those. I didn't even want them. I was just like, why are you gonna do
What
this?
were they?
Oh, it was of his package. And I'm just like, okay, cool.
Like his face and everything, or just
No.
Okay.
No, that's it. But I think he only did that like one time. It's just like, I don't even really want this. But usually he would just send me pictures, like workout pics, like progress pics stuff, and I would just kind of keep him updated, like, because he had some like fitness goals in mind, so it's kind of like trying to help him out with that.
Okay. When was the last time you guys were intimate?
Saturday.
Was that the Broncos game?
Uh,
Where would that have taken place?
at my house.
When he went to go pick you up before heading up to?
He didn't pick me up. We drive my vehicle. But yeah, prior to and immediately following afterwards. So it was like
So when he dropped you back
he
off,
came to my house,
you
it
did-
happened, and then we went out to dinner, and he came back to my house, happened again, and then he left.
Okay. Any other stressors in his life besides finances and that he mentioned?
I mean,
His wife.
just the fact that that she doesn't like let him openly communicate. I mean, but other than that, no. I mean, nothing that I really know of. he was, I mean, we didn't like dive super deep into that stuff. It was just like occasionally there'd be a conversation where it would come up, and I mean, it wasn't even really information that he wanted to provide. It was just like me being curious, like, why are you separating from her? This is good.
You know, with my analytical mind, you know, when I'm trying to like imagine this relationship, I am curious about how Chris perceived the relationship and how Nichol Kessinger actually perceived the relationship. She kind of says that, you know, it was just whatever, but it doesn't seem like Chris thought that at all. And the way she describes it, they were like both super clingy to each other, a little bit. Well, I guess she does point out that he gives her space when she asks for it. So maybe he wasn't overly clingy, but I don't know. I'm curious, like in this relationship, because it's, you know, it's mostly going to be lust at this point. They barely know each other, suppose. Even if they did know each other for like a year before this, you know, the relationship is actually pretty new. So they're just caught up in that initial, excitement period of the relationship. But it's just interesting to me how they could perceive that, and if what I've read about relationships is true, they probably didn't see the relationship the same way, and I just kind of would like to know how they viewed it, you know, and how it related to what the other person thought. You know what I mean? What do you guys think about that? If if that's even a question, you know, I'm just trying to put that out there. Like, they probably didn't have the same opinion on how the relationship was going, what it felt like, and what they expected, but they probably weren't asking each other that kind of stuff because they were making assumptions. Is my point.
To know, or like, what are your finances like in case I end up building a life with you? But it was usually me like doing the inquiries, but I used to try not to be like super invasive about that stuff.
Mhm. What are there in your mind, again, just real
Andrea, what do you mean about evil forces? Um, I am curious. You know, this case I think blows people's mind. Like I've met people just recently finding out about this case and they get like sucked into all of the drama. This case has everything that, you know, could be in a movie or a TV series. All of the drama, the conflict, all of it is 100% what people watch on TV for entertainment. The conflict with Chris's mother and his wife, that's like epic right there. You know, the way they were like fighting all the time. You know, he's got a secret life, he's got secret dreams. I mean, that's mystery. And, you know, the characters involved in this case are like identifiable. We can relate to them. And I mean, I believe that those things is what makes this case stand out. This family had everything that most people want. They had the big house, the nice cars, and the nice things. It doesn't matter that they were in debt and filing bankruptcy. You know, they still had all of those things. And, you know, when you look at it from that point of view, it's easy to see why people are interested in this case. It's easy to see why people are still talking about this case. And it's easy to see why, you know, it blows our mind. This guy had everything. It shouldn't have led to this. Even if he did have an affair, you know, I think 90% of the time the guy's going to go back to his home and be with his wife. I know lots of people say, "Oh, I wouldn't put up with cheating," but they do anyway for the sake of the marriage. Um, you know, when you first start a relationship, you can't trust yourself with those initial feelings. You got to wait. You got to give it time. You got to make sure you know the person. Otherwise, you're going to do exactly what you did before, even if, you know, it's cliche to say it. You have a type and you just don't see it that it's the same type until, you know, maybe a year or two later, whenever things start turning back into the way they were before, because you're still the same person. You still have the same interests and you still are going to have the same feelings, even if it's a different person. And I think that's why relationships don't work out a lot, is because we don't notice that in the beginning, that we really need those. We really need to talk. We really need to have all those questions answered, and we need to know the person, or we're going to find out that they're not what we thought, and it's going to cause resentment and fights and anger, and you break up. Your family's ripped apart. You don't get to see your kids, stuff like that. All of that, it happens in this story, and the tragedy is that it went a step farther than that, and the man took the life of his family. It's just not fair. And the way she sits here and talks about this, like, it's just, it makes me cringe. She has no remorse. I think she does eventually say, I'm sorry, what happened to the kids or something. And it's just a cold, effectless, statement rather than real warm feelings. And, just because somebody is narcissistic and, detached doesn't make them a killer. Okay. There's people like this everywhere. Like, I work with people like this, I meet people like this at grocery stores and stuff. Most of them are just detached, and, they're selfish and they care about themselves. They don't take it to this level, this extreme level. And so I just say that because there is the potential that she actually didn't know anything about this, and she actually is a decent person, just, a little bit detached.
Like, what are the things that really pop out to you that he would complain about his wife?
Just that she didn't listen to him. She never listened to him. She always just shut him up. Oh, and he told me once that she used to kind of talk shit to him in front of his kids, and his kids were starting to repeat it.
To give you an example?
Yeah, she said,
I know what that feels like. That doesn't feel good.
what did she say? He said he tried to ask her for something and ask her a question. I don't know, something. He didn't dive super into this. This was pretty early on, and she said she told him to shut up and that he didn't know anything. And his kids started repeating it. And he said that it made him really sad, and he realized that was when he needed to separate from her.
So, and he never, though, he said she was a good mom?
Yeah, he never complained about her being a bad mom or neglectful or anything like that.
Abusive, anything like that?
Nothing. When it comes to violence or anger or any of that, nothing. And he even said so she kind of gets bossy with me sometimes, but as far as arguing back and forth, he's that never happens. He's we don't fight like that. So I don't know. He seemed pretty even keeled with stuff. So
Did they talk about how they discipline their kids at all?
I never asked. I felt like that was not my place.
And he never mentioned it?
Nope.
That's all I was going to ask.
Just making sure nobody else.
What time is it?
I wish I could see what's on his phone.
It's time to go. You have my card. Things will probably come to your mind in the next day, week, month, year, especially as you get some sleep and recover here. Please don't hesitate to call me. My email's on there. You can email me. The business phone number on there is not accurate. I used to work in our Pueblo office until
So what is it?
July. Just call my cell phone. I'm never in my office anyways.
Okay.
Okay? My cell phone will always be the same, so just call my cell phone. And I will respond to you as soon as I can. If you need, to send an email, again, you can send an email to me. Okay? If I can help you in any way with some services to deal with the obvious trauma that you face, let me know, and I'll get you in touch with the people that can help you. Also, if you have issues with anybody intimidating you in any fashion, I will tell you right now, I have zero tolerance for that. Zero. I will charge anybody if I can prove it, and I will take them straight to jail. Period. You're not a suspect in anything. You're merely a witness. Unfortunately for you, you met a man who did some terrible things. and I will not. I won't stand for it. I through my career, period, zero tolerance. You will go straight to jail. You call me immediately, and I will handle it.
I appreciate
Okay.
that.
And finally,
I still don't know why she's not a suspect of any kind. Like, I don't get it. I mean, I don't think I've heard him say that, or at least whenever I watched this before, I didn't pay attention to it. But he specifically says, you are not involved in this case. We're not going to charge you with anything. And that everyone else who, tries to intimidate you for whatever reason, because of that, he's going to put him in jail. Hey, Crazy Grandma. Hey, Gerald 2 cents. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well.
probably eventually are going to get media inquiries.
When are you thinking this is going to happen?
I don't think it's going to happen soon. I really don't. I will tell you today that there
I think it happened very soon, actually.
was an inquiry from a media member requesting to know if there was any other people involved in Chris's life. I think the story is they're searching, but there's only a multiple couple of time reasons that somebody could think what would cause this.
Well, they're seeing
they-
the financial stuff. They're posting it.
Right.
I'm seeing
And-
it.
So I think there's a buffer for you for a couple of reasons. I told you today, I did not see the affidavit. I don't think your name was mentioned in it. There's no reason for it, I don't think, at this time for his arrest. When the affidavit becomes public, which I think they mentioned maybe early next week, that'll keep them media busy for a while.
Oh, so her name.
Yeah, I wish it went to trial also. We probably would have found out a lot more. But at the same time, maybe it is just as simple as it looks. If it was just a random thing that happened and, nobody knew about it except for Chris. I don't buy that. But I mean, what if that's the case? I mean, what would we have found out in the trial? What do you guys think we would have found out in the trial that we don't know now for sure? I mean, obviously there's a few things I want to know more about. What about you guys?
Name wasn't in it that you
I
think.
don't think your name
Mark
was
said
in
he
it.
didn't publish that thing
Right.
yet, so if he has
So I talked to Mark this morning, and I know he has not written a report. Now, I do know that he did talk to the people yesterday just regarding her, because it was important for some of the things we were doing yesterday. Again, I don't think your name appears in that report. But don't hold me to that. I didn't write the affidavit, but from what I know, it doesn't. So at some point, your name is going to come out. I mean, there's just
Hey, that is exciting. Do you know if it's a boy or a girl yet?
no way it's not. And like I told you, I won't.
So when do you think that is? Like when we take this to trial?
I don't
Like
know.
at what point? Because nobody knows about this.
Right, but Chris does.
Yeah, I don't think he's in any rush to tell the media anything. I mean, maybe.
Is there mitigators that he, in his mind, or again, you got a phone call from the public defender's office, whether you talked to them or not,
I
that's
did
your business.
not.
You didn't?
I did not.
Oh, I thought you did.
I did not.
Hmm.
I didn't know what to do. Mark said to ask you what to do.
Okay, so did they reach out to you?
Yep.
Okay, your decision. You don't have to talk to him, or you can.
See, I think he's preparing her for being a witness on the stand, and I think that's why he made those statements, and that's probably why she wasn't investigated very hard. They had planned on using her as a witness. At least that's kind of what it seems like, because I mean they're kind of talking about how this is going to plan out over the next few weeks, and he's saying that the defense attorney is going to call you and want to ask you questions, but you don't have to say it. But he's asking all of these questions probably to help the prosecutors. I don't know that she met with any of the prosecutors because he made a plea deal right away.
I won't say either way. You have to make that decision for yourself.
I don't know don't really know what to do. I feel like if I talk to them, they're either going to try to like find some holes in my story or try to get me to like be Chris's only ally, and I don't really feel like dealing with either one of those.
Then I think you've made up your mind.
Yeah,
So,
I don't
and
want
maybe
to.
confide in your father.
That's we were
Should
talking
we
about.
Yeah.
already talked?
I can't really give you legal advice. They have every reason to want to talk to you. Just like,
See, I think he's kind of pushing her to not talk to them because he's saying you don't have to talk to them, but he's like saying it like you don't have to talk to them.
if they got to you before I did, I would want to talk to you too. You understand what I mean? And I won't hamper what their investigation is or anything. They want information too, certainly. They have a client that they're trying to protect and make sure.
You know, I was thinking the same thing, but I don't think I'm like bullying her or anything. I'm at least one of the few people who kind of am on the fence with what actually happened. Probably more so than some other channels that talk about this case. I try to at least present the information that there's a possibility that we're all wrong.
That everything that we're looking at is the same thing that they would want to
But
look
they can
at.
get it from you.
They will get it from us.
So-
It'll be in discovery. They'll get everything that we've talked about here, and that's so when that happens, which is pretty short order. The reports that we will generate, everybody involved in this case, will be sent to the public defender's office. I think at that time you might find that there could be some exposure for you. So I am not going to tell anybody who you are. If somebody called me today, I don't talk to the media. I don't have any business talking to the media. Mark has no business talking to the media. They don't need to know who you are. Your part in this is not relative to anything to the story. For me, it's nothing that they need to know, and I don't ever give information to anybody.
They're going to dwell on it, though. They're going to try to use that as his why. I don't think it's his why. I really don't.
That's why I asked you that question.
No.
You think his why is financial? And whether or not we ever know what his why is, I don't know.
Did he tell you guys what his why was?
I can't discuss it with you.
So, just a quick open question. The way the legal system runs, is it, if he totally confesses and pleads guilty, is there a reason for a trial, or do they just pack enough discoveries together that this proves what he said and,
So the
and
purpose
he goes
of
to a kind of court and it's done, or?
the purpose for discovery is
Yeah, I think this part is important, guys. I think it gets skipped over a lot.
we're obligated by law to share everything that we know with the public defender or
Absolutely.
a private attorney.
Right, okay.
It doesn't go the other way. They don't have to share anything with us. So we are obligated to give them everything we have, no matter what happens. I can tell you right now, probably sometime early this week will be he's going to enter a plea. Either I'm guilty or not guilty. That will probably be sometime Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this.
See, I think he's still talking about the arraignment because this is right after it happened. So they put in a plea of not guilty to preserve their rights rather than because he wants to claim he's actually not guilty at that first hearing.
Coming week, I would imagine, from what I heard today. Now, it might be a little more delayed, and then that starts the legal process. So,
But if he pleads
if
guilty,
Or is he actually already got a plea deal? I'm a little confused about what they're talking about. I don't remember when he got arraigned, but he just went to jail. I think they've got him in custody already, right? This is August 16th.
he pleads guilty, could that happen today? Sure, certainly. I mean, he could go to his attorneys. You've seen it happen before. If he pleads guilty, is that information still available? Absolutely, because there's still got to be legal process regarding is he competent to stand can he make that plea? Are the attorneys going to allow him to do
all
so?
the stuff.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
So
okay.
all that information still goes to them, and then that would play into potentially what is the sentence, what could be the penalty. All those things have to be looked at by attorneys. So there is no not them ever getting her name. It is going to be there at some point. And I don't know, I understand your fear, and that's why I told you that if anybody, I don't care if somebody calls you and says, you know, anything minor, you call me and let me know, please. I will not stand for that.
Well,
Okay.
So it would be the news people would only be the ones that, and of course they already know what to.
God, work is going to be such a mess too. That's going to be like a whole nother level. Like everybody at my work I heard was so like just damaged and broken today, and then it's like, let's just add Nikki into this whole mix. It's not going to be good for all of them, like mentally either. It's just going to be a mess.
Maybe your employer could train.
So I believe Chris Watts was arraigned on the 16th. So he went into custody the day before. That's when he did the lie detector test and stuff. And his first hearing would have been the next day. Because once you get taken into custody, you have your arraignment. You know, there's a right to speedy trial and stuff. And if you're in custody, they try to get the arraignment done sooner. If you're not in custody, you know, it might be a month or two out. The rules apply differently depending on the type of arraignment, you know, if you're in custody or out of custody.
Transfer you to another business.
I think that's a fair statement. I will tell you right now that Anadarko has been very, very helpful with us and is very concerned about their employees.
I would like to know what they got from Anadarko. I don't think I've seen a lot of information that came from the company that Chris Watts worked for.
In this event. And I'm tired too, but you may, your employer definitely is.
I also want to point out that this is 10 o'clock at night. So she did ask him, well, what did, you know, why did he say he did it? So it sounds like she knows that he confessed already. So, and she sounded like she wanted to know why also. Like it's weird how some of her language comes across to me is like odd or faked a little bit. But when she asked that question, you know, it looked kind of real. And she was really kind of like shocked that he wouldn't tell her why.
Has an indication of your relationship with Chris, I would think.
They're not my employer.
Oh, that's right. You work for a different company.
Yeah, but you're saying
I think
Anadarko has a knowledge of that.
Well,
who are you talking about? Tasman or Anadarko?
I don't even know what Tasman is.
Tasman is the people that cut my check, and I'm contracted out to APC.
So, I think people have suspicion that there was a relationship with Chris. Not saying you, but they may know that. I think there was some suspicion that he was having a relationship with somebody else.
I agree with this statement.
Not your name specifically.
They did want this to go away. And yeah, I imagine they have to like give up some confidential information that could be hurtful to the company. I don't know what I was actually looking up something else, and I came across the situation where like a lot of records were made public for a whole different case, a whole different story. And I was like, well, all of this information could apply to other cases that they, you know, if they get access, you know, they're only supposed to be looking for, you know, specific information. But if they happen to see other information, then they know it's there and they can pursue it. They just have to find a way to make probable cause work. But if they know something's there, it's a lot easier to do that, I think. I'm not saying that they would or they're supposed to, but I think it's interesting at least to think about that.
But if you went to your bosses and said, I have an issue that I don't, you know, like your dad's saying, I think that you might find that they'll just get you out of there.
See, that's what we were talking about today, because they probably have a policy for psychological help. They probably have a policy for.
I don't think they helped her at all. They wanted her to go away too, just like the problem. That's what happens, unfortunately. But hey, guys, I just wanted to remind you guys again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. I do talk about the Watts case quite often. I do other true crime as well. And if you're interested in, ghost stories, I do have another channel as well. And I've been writing fiction as well as nonfiction, true crime. And I do have a couple of books published, and I'm working on a few more. But yeah, please subscribe, hit the like button.
Inquisitive, people bugging other employees. That's a big company with a lot of HR, and there's.
Do you have an employee assistance program?
I don't. Oh yeah, that they were there all day today. But it's like I got so many calls today from
Those are
people I work
questions
with.
that you can ask them anonymely, and that information is retained.
That's what I was saying, because if.
So what am I supposed to do?
Well-
Tell my boss?
Well, no, but your boss isn't going to
I think she should have got an attorney regarding her job.
want rumor mongers. They're not going to want people stressing you out. They're not going to wait. They don't want erratic workflow. They don't want any of that. So they'll probably do a broadcast letter of anybody that was friends,
They already
acquaintances
did. They already
of it,
dealt with all the shit
or
that's done
anything else.
today.
Please respect that employee's feelings. And right there, oh, and by the way, if any of you have problems, you can call Mickey Mouse at, and that's probably,
See,
they
but-
probably have a policy with that.
Here's the
And I'm
problem,
hoping that
though.
they do.
I don't work for them.
But they can still,
But if I'm like
Protect you under
transfer
that.
me, like they're gonna be like, you're not even our employee. Like I'm pretty sure I'm about to lose my job over this.
no,
No, you're not. Why would you lose your job?
I don't know, because I feel like people are gonna just complain about being uncomfortable with working with me. Like I am not gonna have any respect from anybody there. I think I will have like 2 people that still.
You really didn't do anything wrong.
I had an affair with a married man who lied to me and made me believe that he really wasn't like as married as I think he was. But the media is not going to be so kind to let everybody know that.
That's because married is married. You can't be halfway married. You can be separated, but if there's no documentation, it's not a legal separation. They're still married. They could still work it out. They could still resume that relationship until they're divorced. And even after that, they could get remarried again. I've known at least one person in my lifetime that got divorced, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then got remarried to the same person, which I thought was strange, but everybody's got their things, I guess.
I think people are going to think I'm like the reason that he went off the deep end.
That's probably a fair statement. I would probably agree with you.
I think more what happened is that the relationship with her was another symptom of the underlying issues in Chris Watts' life, more than it was because of her. I think he had her in his life because of his situation. And I think other people might disagree with me, but if you try to think of it as like, how does this work the most simplest way? And if you read about relationships, you can hear similar stories like this. But he's going through something, and he has to find a way to meet needs that aren't being met, and that's what he did. And if it wasn't her, it would have been someone else. That part, I'm pretty sure I'm accurate on that. I don't know what she said to him that could have pushed him over the edge, like completely. He was vulnerable when he was with her, and she could have easily, said the wrong thing and made this worse. But I mean, at the same time, the opposite could have happened.
Some effect, but if these people them at work, then
and the company will
protect
company
you at
will-
some point.
buffer that as much as they can, because if not, it'd be chaos amongst employees, and they can't have that.
I'm just so
It's
sad.
just
Like
not
this
good
is
in
like
their best
the
interest.
job of all jobs I've ever had in my life, and I
Really?
fucked it up.
Well, so you've been out in the field, you've been home 3 months of the year on an average.
Not even-
In
I think if there's any lessons to be learned in this case, there's the obvious ones, but like in Nichol Kessinger's situation, the one thing that most people should take from this and learn from it is do not, date a married person. This is the worst possible outcome that can happen from that. But even the the lesser outcomes are terrible. You have broken hearts, trust issues, all of that stuff. Like families are broken up, people hate each other, and it's never just like the people involved. It affects other people too, and to avoid having a similar fate, avoid dating a married person.
Staggered amount out in the middle of nowhere on oil rigs. This little thing was out hanging on oil rigs, and now they got her an environmental where she's able to clean up stuff.
Right.
And it's a hot job, man. It's just a hot job. And
I
mean, would you advise
I wouldn't
me
start.
talking to
I
like
can't
my
give you
head
legal
higher up?
advice. Maybe the best thing to do on that is talk to your EAP, whoever the employees assistance people are. They're anonymous. They know all your HR rules. They know all your policy and procedure stuff. And how can I mitigate this?
Fair
and also,
question.
your problem too is not just is this going to become an environment where you can't work? So you have to call those people and say, I don't want this to happen. So how do we take care of it? I want to continue to work for you guys. I love my job. Whatever. Just be proactive. I don't know. Your boss is on site.
Yeah, she's pretty cool. I don't know.
I think that's a personal decision you have to make.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
don't
I didn't
think-
even think about talking to them at all, but I keep thinking about, I'm like, man, when my name gets out in the news, this is about to be crazy.
No,
Like,
I'll
I had
do it.
people call me all day, like, my office mate would not shut up. She just called me today, and she was just like, oh my god, did you read this article, and what did you think, and oh my god, and this, and I'm just like, I don't want to talk about this. Please leave me alone. And like, it was really overwhelming. And my project manager called me, and he's really chill, so we made it a very quick conversation. But some people just like didn't get it, and it's so hard to me
I
because
would
I
get
feel
in
like
front of
I'm lying to them.
I'd get in front of it. No, don't.
Yeah, because
Make
Maybe she felt guilty because she has something to be guilty for. And she might feel guilty simply for being in a relationship with somebody who's married. That could be why she felt that way. But she's assuming that they think she's guilty for a reason.
company, I don't think it would be in their best interest legally, morally, or profit-wise to have a bunch of junk going on. They would suppress it to keep it at least where everybody's treated with respect throughout the company. This is a tough situation. They'll put the presidential
I
speech
could do that
in it.
job like 75% of that at home.
Yeah, I
I've
would-
already been thinking about that. I was thinking about just asking Lena, like, hey man, just let me come in at like 5 in the morning and deal with the gas monitors like 2 days a week. No one will even know I'm
And I
there.
believe that
And let me just work at
they
home.
probably made a statement on that, what'd you call it, OHP or
EAP.
EAP.
EEP?
They put out a notice today.
If they put that out and it says your confidentiality will be respected,
It has to be.
Every time I talk about this, she's Googling Amber Frey. She should have did what Amber Frey did. Maybe she didn't because, this probably caused, if she had nothing to do with it, this would have caused a lot of like emotional problems. And, she could have gone into a severe depression and then been medicated. Who knows what exactly happened because we haven't heard from her. But if she would have done things differently, we wouldn't be talking about it like this. She could have done what Amber Frey did and probably made it through this without any like problem to her reputation, but she didn't. She hid things. She went into hiding. I don't know if going into hiding was good or bad, to be honest. I think it might be safer not to come out of hiding, because at this point, I don't know that anybody will believe her one way or the other, even if she like had video proof of everything she said was true, I don't know that anybody would trust it 100%.
That got leaked through an HR department and that got out after you told them something, that would not be good for...
Employment law is very strict on that
Yeah,
kind of
so
stuff.
I think you should just not attack it, but be proactive in it and snuff it, because...
And what, just go tell my boss, like, not what I told you guys, but like a summed up version of it, like, hey,
Well,
my name is about to get released in the media, and there's...
Here's another thing with her, the way she's talking about this, she's actually trying to make a joke right now.
a lot of stuff.
I don't know if I'd do that in that fashion. I might you just need to figure out a tactful way to do that. And perhaps in employment, there is attorneys that deal with employment law.
You know, one simple sentence to her boss, you're going to find out about this, but I was having a relationship with Chris. That's all she probably had to say.
And maybe you want to reach out to one of them. That might help you. I don't know. You know, it's a decision that you might need to make.
Yeah, I'm not sure why Nichol Kessinger has her dad here instead of an attorney. She should have had an attorney too. And then she could have had that attorney speak to the public just like Amber Frey did. I think that was a really smart move. You know, it was almost like, you know, somebody was managing her public image, you know, without her having to face the public personally. It really worked well for her, I think.
Or you might want to talk. I think I would talk to EAP first because it's not going to cost you any money.
See if they'll do something. I hope so, because they're not actually my employer. So
Well, they're an outside agency that just knows what's going on.
But
So, yeah, I don't know,
both
so
companies, it would be in their best interest to protect everybody, including all the foremen he worked with, apprentices he worked with. I mean, all of those people have a lot of information too.
not like me.
But again, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to have, you know, they don't want to talk about it. They have the same rights. So it would be a company-wide thing. So I would just,
On the media
we'll
stuff,
work on that.
Yeah, I think you've got a grip on that. On the media stuff, for you, I wouldn't talk to the media. Just tell them you don't have any comment. And for you, probably the same. And if they just persist, you know, maybe put somebody. It seems like your dad is your biggest confidant here, and maybe make a brief statement. If you know, my daughter doesn't want to say anything, have a nice day, whatever. You know, because if you appease them a little bit, sometimes they'll go.
Even he mentions, you know, it'd be good to have somebody speak on your behalf. You know, I think an attorney would have been a great option.
Away. That would just be my suggestion. Don't talk to them. You don't need to.
I'm not going to. I guess they're gonna make their own assumptions.
Let
You,
them,
So does your neighbor, so does the...
right. They'll be talking as soon as they
Stop at the
figure
red
out who
light.
you are. They're going to talk to your neighbor, and they're going to say, "Oh yeah, I saw Chris, you know, and her together." You know, whatever. You know what's going to happen. Just prepare
Does anybody
yourself,
know
and then it won't.
who her
be.
neighbors were?
Are they
There-
gonna
there's
like
an-
swarm my house?
No, I don't think so.
No, they were like swarming his. He told me that he's like, there's media everywhere, and it's just like, I hope that does not happen
Well,
to me. I
yeah.
mean, I have like a safe house in Denver that I can go to, that I
There
have the
you go.
keys to, that has
That's what
nobody
we're,
there
that's what we're
ever.
thinking for the
And
next
it's
couple
all
of
I have to
weeks.
do is check the mail, and there's no questions asked, and nobody knows where it is, and I'm not telling anybody, but it's like a really nice spot for me to like hide
there.
out, and I don't have any friends in that building. I mean, it's an
So that's an interesting place that she's describing, that she's already got a plan to go into hiding also, it sounds like.
apartment, but it's
And we
like
will
safe.
answer your phone calls, but the safe house is from
The safe house
go
is
there.
the safe
people
house.
banging on her apartment
Well,
door.
when should I go there? When do you think all this is going to start happening? I mean, it's kind
I
of.
mean, it might be just good for you to go there, anyways, for your sanity, and
He said, go there now.
stay away from this place that you had a connection to this man with, and get your thoughts in order.
It's
And
so sad. That was my nest. That was like such a warm little place.
That was
and
your-
Now it's like I haven't even slept in my bed. I've just been sleeping on the couch with the dog.
She sounds sad, right? But she didn't sound sad about the kids and the wife. It's very odd,
You
guys.
wouldn't want to do it.
what other questions can we answer before we go? I don't foresee talking to you again regarding this now. an attorney might review something and go, hey, can you ask her another question? And that would be a long ways down the line. I don't think there's anything else. I let you talk for a long time today to get it all out. So we don't have to do this again, because I don't want to traumatize you again. But if there is important things that come up, please know that I do want to talk to you about those. Other things that we haven't talked about today, or if something just, I mean, I got to tell them, just call me.
I mean, like some things like that.
So, guys, I got a trivia question for you. Where is the jail in Weald County, Colorado? Put your answer in the comments if you know it. If you don't know it, if you want to guess, just make your best guess.
Really important. Like the other day, like I didn't mention the wedding ring thing, and then I was like, that was really creepy. I should probably tell them about that.
And
And you got those cards. I gave you those cards.
So you gave me cards and there was clothing in there.
Yeah, I don't care what you do with it all. I just don't
The
want
clothing, was any of the clothing anything he wore this weekend, or is it stuff that was from...
No. It was like stuff that he brought over like prior to that.
Okay.
None of that. Like some of it's been washed and folded since then. Yeah, I just wanted it out of my house and didn't want to throw it away.
We'll
So
take
you
care of
guys
it.
can
We
deal
have
with
it. We'll take care of that. If I have questions on the context of a text message, I might just call you and say, "How does this mean?" Because I might not
Yeah.
understand what you were talking about. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
If it's, I'm not going to bother you unless it's really important.
Yeah, Gerald's 2 cents. I totally agree with that statement. You know, people were very upset, and she's not. Even in this particular case, people were very upset, and she just isn't.
Because I think I have everything I need from you today.
okay, yeah, we just wanted to make sure you guys had it so that
Well, and we don't. I
you
don't
can find the right person or
yeah,
something
we don't
and
want to
get
do
it
it
done.
again. Yeah, and we know we have the right person, and I am sorry that you're involved. I am. It's never a good time to say anything like that, but it's a bad deal. This whole thing is, and this is one of the tougher cases that I think I've been doing this a long time. It's, you know, it's tough. So for you, it's even tougher. And don't forget to reach out to somebody for your sanity. Like I asked you downstairs a question, and you said no. You remember what question I asked you, right?
No. You know how many questions you've asked me
Did you want a
tonight?
pizza?
Well, hell,
Pizza.
I want
I
food
love
too.
pizza.
No, I asked you if you had any concern. I asked if I should be concerned at all about you hurting yourself.
Oh, no, I don't feel the need to do that. I
Right.
just want people to leave me alone. I
And
just
if
feel like
you-
I want to like hide for a little while all
Just
of this
please
is happening.
reach out to your family or even me, and if you have any things that's struggling, like I told you, there's people I can put you in touch that will talk to you. I'm not a psychologist. That's not what I am. But people sometimes that get caught in these situations, they end up having lots of emotional issues, and you need to address them. Don't just hide that stuff. Okay.
All right. Are you guys
You
gonna
seem
help
pretty
me if
super
we go?
intelligent. So
I appreciate that. That's a nice compliment. When we go to like trial for this, if that's what he so feels the need to take this to, are you guys gonna help like coach me through these questions?
So we would be there to rediscuss our conversation today, the conversation you had with Mark, and then an attorney would talk to you prior to any questioning on the stand regarding what kind of questions they're going to ask you. And really the only thing you have to remember, I mean, if you're worried about your recollection or your recall or, you know, how you might remember this, everybody worries about that. Even we do. We spend hours on the stand, and it's very difficult. But the only thing you have to remember is tell the truth. And the truth will never change in your mind. You know what happened during these 6 weeks.
I think that's a incorrect statement. The truth will never change in your mind. I think that's what our brain does, is it resituates information in our head so that we can understand it better. And that will change your recollection of if somebody's wearing a green shirt or a blue shirt. I don't think that was a correct statement, but I mean, he's got a point. You know, if you tell the truth, it shouldn't be that bad. If you're making stuff up, you're not going to be able to remember what you lied about before when they ask you a similar question later on.
You know what happened on Monday and Tuesday. And as long as you tell the truth, then there's nothing to be worried about. If you don't remember something, you don't remember it. Might they pick on you a little bit about that? Absolutely. They usually pick on us a lot more than they do you guys. So, but that's so far down the road.
I mean, how long are we talking? Like, how long
That
is this
could
whole process
be,
gonna
well,
take?
so he has the right to
Year.
a speedy trial once he makes a plea, which is 45 days. Do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not.
And the right to the speedy trial, I don't know how it works in Colorado, but in most states, there's that time can be like paused. So it really takes a long time for these trials to happen. Like he says 45 days, but it might be 45 days, but the time pauses for months before the time continues forward again.
I can tell you that the majority of the homicides that I work on average somewhere between 1 and 3 years.
Yeah, look at the
So
clown, man.
I gotta just deal
With
with
the
the
theater.
media, like knocking on my door
You're-
like that for like 3 years. 'Cause that's
This
what I'm gonna have to
case
go
will
through.
be hot until the next, unfortunately, crazy case comes up. And you know it's true. I don't know if you watch the news. There's a reason I really don't.
Every week.
I don't.
But
watch
you
the
know
news.
there's something new every week that's the hot topic. This one might be hot for a week, 2, 3,
It's been what, almost 8 years now.
whatever. And then something else is going to happen. And they're going to forget
Kind of
all
sad
about
that
this
it's
one
still
until it
like,
comes back
so
to court.
popular.
And then it's going to be revived. If it ever does. I don't know what that, he
So-
has all sorts of, he could plead. He could say, I want to go to trial. I didn't do this. Whatever. He could say whatever. So it could be tomorrow.
Didn't he make his take the plea deal in like November or something? It was fairly soon after he got arrested.
It could be 5 years. It just depends. I mean, there's a lot of things that can slow cases down.
Yeah, look at that theater thing. I mean, that was a whirlwind for, what, a month or so?
Sure.
If you guys don't remember what he's talking about, there was a Batman movie playing in Denver, and some guy came in body armor with a machine gun and like shot up everybody. I had forgotten about that. I remember hearing about that, and at the time, I went to the movies a lot. I wasn't in Colorado or anything, but it was the first time I was like, "Oh my God, how would I know that that was real bullets?" Because in an action movie, it's all loud, and it's dark, you can't see. That I forget the name of the guy, but that particular mass shooting terrified me.
And then all of a sudden, as soon as people started figuring out what that guy was all about, all of a sudden they started just like, man, he's weird. He was psycho. Look at him, and he just kind of just.
And then it
But I
petered
notice
off.
it shows
and then-
up like every.
That's a huge event.
Yeah. But
Certainly
it shows up every 6
unprecedented.
months or a year. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you look at, I just, there's no way to know that. But if,
Okay.
like your dad's saying, like on that guy was sent to the state hospital for evaluation. And that takes a long, long time, and that can draw out cases.
I need to look up that
if there's
guy and see what
evaluations.
happened to him.
There's all sorts of things that come into play that really don't worry about. Is put this thing out of your mind as much as you can, and when the time comes, if it ever does, that you had to testify, you will be in good hands. We'll take care of you. The attorneys handling this case are going to, take care of whatever needs to happen. Okay? And if you have questions that you can't think of now, just call me.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to talk to the other side. From what we were discussing, they can get the discoveries from you
I
guys.
don't
and
want
it's-
to deal with him
it's-
anymore.
it's
Mark
less
already
than-
said he's like he might try to call you. I think I'm gonna just ignore that.
Who?
Chris.
But didn't she delete her phone and change her phone number? How could he call her?
I don't know. If he will try to call me.
Maybe she gave him
Did they find those little girls
her
yet?
new
I'm
number.
looking for them. And they
Yeah.
thought where they
Yeah.
knew where they were at. You don't know yet because
I
you've been
don't.
in here with me.
Right.
Oh my god.
I find the whole thing very weird if the close, as much as you told me that he was as normal as he was, but yet some very close friend would call within a couple of hours of her not answering the door, or what was it?
Well, I think she was like on meds or something. Like, so I think she wasn't concerned
But to
about
call the
Chris.
Her dad just says something pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure I usually tune out about now because they're supposed to be leaving, and they've been leaving for like 10 or 15 minutes, and they haven't left yet. But he says, something that's kind of weird is you just said how normal he was, but her friend called the police a few hours after she disappeared.
But to call the police within just like the same day, and yet he acted
big.
normal on this end, that is just that is weird.
Yeah.
There's two different lives there or something.
Oh, there's definitely two different lives there. That's why sometimes I have to I feel like when he's like, well, what did she, people are like, what did he say about her? And it's just like, I don't even know if I want to say it because who knows if that's what's really happening. I mean, maybe not.
Molly called me back, so we'll call her tomorrow.
Okay, I think I might need to approach Anadarko. I really don't want to go to work tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to just take the week off and then maybe we can sort things out on the weekend, and then I can reach out to my supervisor and EAP or whatever.
Yeah, you need a little sleep and some time.
Yeah, you definitely need some sleep. Don't drive tonight.
Yeah.
She's I'm gonna drive her home and then all the way back.
I'll walk you guys down. You gonna get?
Yeah, I'll
You need
get
to use
tape.
the restroom first, Pumpkin?
No, which is crazy because
Did you guys hear that? He just called his daughter Pumpkin after he just heard about her affair with a married man. I think it's odd. I guess, as a parent, I guess you never really think your kids are going to grow up, but I don't know. It sounded weird to me that he called her Pumpkin.
drank so much water today.
I really, really do appreciate you being completely.
But that is the entire interview. Finally, I know I've never actually watched the entire thing all the way through in one setting. It's 3.5 hours long, and I don't know. I think when you watch it all, you can actually see the what the detective's actually thinking about Nichol Kessinger. He's planning to use her as a witness, and so it makes sense that they wouldn't be investigating her after that. But I think it was after the fact, after he confessed, and probably a year or two later that people started looking at the discovery and picking out all of the things, the phone pings and the phone call and the way she said she didn't know what they talked about. That she deleted her phone, all those things kind of came out afterwards, after lots of people started looking at the information. And I think if, that information had come out earlier, maybe they would have investigated her more, or at least, given a good reason why they weren't suspicious of her behavior, despite the notable red flags. But anyways, guys, it has been almost 3 hours that I've been live today. It's been great. I love that you guys are here. I had a great time, and I just want to say thank you for supporting my channel. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. And, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to my channel, watch my other videos, and keep an eye out for true crime trivia that I typically post a lot. I've been on a kind of break the last couple of weeks, just because I'm working on other projects, not true crime related, just for personal things. I'm writing a story for my son. I've been working on some other projects that are, bigger projects, but not true crime also, but writing projects anyway. I did post my link to my book on Rex Heuermann, and the HK 2002-04 document that was talked about at his last hearing. It is not public record yet, and I did make a lot of assumptions, and I would say that is probably more biased than anything that I've ever written, but I think it's got some interesting information in there. I'll also post the link for that book in my video description here, so you can check it out. See, check out the preview. See if you want to read more. It is very heavy. It covers a lot of like forensic psychology stuff. So I think it's interesting, and I'm pretty confident you guys will enjoy it. I do plan to revise it once that document actually becomes public record. That'll probably be a year or so from now. But I'd been working on the stuff that I like the bulk of that book before that document even came out. I was, just writing stuff, and I kind of just put it all together, and it worked perfectly with Rex Heuermann. Specifically, and the BTK, which they're kind of similar with their, killer profiles. But anyways, guys, please like and subscribe. Make sure you click the alert button so you get notified of these live streams. And whenever I release a new video, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a good day.